you said that you had listened to the last one, but did you listen? Have you heard of our show scandal that we have? Is the Poop Bandit? My my wife works at an elementary.
You're in for a treat.
My wife works at an elementary, and there for a little while they were having an issue with someone going to the bathroom on the floor, and it was quite the scandal at the school. And I get a text message, and it's a picture of a toilet, and then it's just hair on the side of the ground. So now they have a poop bandit and now a hair bandit. Somebody is cutting their hair in the bathroom
In an elementary school.
Yes. So
Well, my question would be how long can they go on the hair side?
And also,
I don't know.
You're gonna run out.
It's got a lot more evidence.
A lot more evidence.
Poop bandit, you don't know. A hair bandit, you're like, hey, there's a patch missing.
Right?
Maybe it's that kid.
Unless there's someone else's hair they're cutting and bringing in there.
That could be possible. There's been strange things that have happened in my years of education, but
Yeah.
I think the bandit has been pretty exciting
So
to
pooping
follow.
on the floor, just in random places. Or-
Yeah, inside the stalls.
Oh, in the stall.
In the stalls. And it's just, I mean, the things that go through an element. Honestly, the story she comes home and tells me sometimes, I'm like, are you making that up? Like, honestly. And no, I know for a fact she's not.
Mm-hmm.
Elementary school teachers.
Got a special place in heaven for those
Get
people.
their work cut out for them.
And, but,
I don't know, middle school teachers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather do one or the other, I think.
Yeah.
High school or elementary.
Well, his wife is a middle school teacher, so I taught middle school for 10 years. It was 9.5 too many.
She says you don't choose middle school, it chooses you.
Yeah. My aunt was I think 7th grade math teacher and special lady.
Yeah, I
She was in Highland Park. She could tell you some stories of some famous kids that she
I
has
bet.
taught. Yeah, she taught the owner of Soul Man's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
kid
okay.
When he came through.
Okay.
And, of course, I think, she had some stories.
Do you watch football?
No,
No football.
I don't. I'll tell you, Jerry Jones has ruined me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember the glory days.
Yeah, us too.
And I tell you, every year it just gets worse. It's more comical, and you just want to cry. And I decided a few years ago, I'm not making any money on these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a decision maker. Why am I torturing myself by their stupid decisions? I'm not going to be a part of it. Did the same thing with the Mavericks. Man, I'm just not going to go up and down every other night with a win and a loss and have good days and bad days. I'm just not going to do it. I follow from a distance. I don't watch. I tell you what I got into. Are we live yet?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. I'm going to admit this then on air. I got into WNBA last year.
Okay.
I even bought the season pass. It was like $36 for the year, so it was affordable.
Yeah.
And the fever was the reason that I got involved and started watching. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then their end of their season was just amazing. It was really amazing. Probably some of the best basketball performances of any year or league. Just amazing. And I don't know. I got into it. I hid the scores so that whenever I got home, I could watch it without spoilers.
There you go.
Yeah.
We, Kyle knows everything about basketball. I don't know anything about basketball. I sit and listen.
Yeah, I'm the guy.
Because Dallas got the Dallas Wings. They got
they
got a good player.
Yeah, number 1 pick last year, and then I think they got the number 1 pick again this coming draft.
Yeah, Paige Beckers.
Yeah,
amazing. She's right there with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you on
in
that.
their abilities, and she's not the long range bomber that Caitlin Clark is, but she did play the whole season last year.
That's true, and Caitlin did not.
So I think she's back though.
I just can't get into WNBA. I've tried. Honestly, I have tried, and as a former girls basketball coach, I probably should not admit that, but it's kind of slow for me.
Well, it used to be.
So
you should try again.
I'm trying.
You should try again.
I do like Caitlin Clark.
Used to be run down the court, toss it in, miss a few, and run back. That was the WNBA.
Okay.
Now they've taken that up.
Okay.
It's elevated. I mean, lots of long range. Shaq says all they need to do is lower the rim 6 inches so they can start dunking, and they'll be on par.
I do agree with that.
With the NBA.
I do agree with that.
Now I can't watch the NBA all that much because they're just so long and lanky and just right there at the rim. It's almost not even challenging. They make it look easy anyway.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, and the ladies really still have to work at it. So I don't know. Teach their own, I guess. As long as Jerry Jones not involved, I'm good.
We are both big Cowboy fans and college football fans. Did you check out the scores at all from the college football playoffs that happened this week?
No, I haven't. I don't follow college sports at all.
Indiana and Miami are coming up. I'm really excited.
I expected Indiana to be there.
Me too.
I did not expect Miami to get through.
Yeah. Well, and then we had lots of other football playoffs going on with the Packers losing, and more importantly, Micah Parsons and Stephon Diggs are at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good day.
It's a good day.
Although my son wanted them to be successful, and he is a little bit contrarian. So usually the teams I like, he doesn't like, and the teams I hate, he likes. That's just kind of the relationship we have when it comes to sports. And so I expected that when he's like, well, I wanted Micah Parsons. Before they played the game, he was like, do you think Diggs is going to have anything? I'm like, no, he's going to do nothing the whole game like he did for us the whole season. He's like, I want him to have 5 picks. And I'm like, that'd be a lot of picks, And I said, why? Like, you just don't, because I want him to not be good. You want him to succeed. He's like, no, I don't like Jerry Jones. And I'm like, that's a good take from my son.
It's hard to argue with that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I tell you, Stephen A. had a really good analysis the other day, and you either love him or you hate him, and it's fine. But he was accurate. He said, I usually hate on the Cowboys because it's fun, and I enjoy doing that. He said, but I got 3 things to say about Jerry Jones and why it's his fault. Did y'all hear this?
I haven't heard it. No.
He said, this is his synopsis, which you love him or hate him, but a lot of times he's right with old Stephen A. and his loud mouth. But he said, number 1, he did nothing in the offseason. And number 2, he waited too long on Parsons and Dak, which probably cost him about $20 million more than it should have.
Yeah.
And then I think number 3 was, he had a really good unemployed head coach willing to step in, and he ignored it.
Yeah.
So, I think those are the 3 mistakes that you have watched all year.
The waiting too long is a fatal flaw for Jerry Jones. He has this thing from the oil business where he says deadlines get deals done. It's not so much in the NFL.
No,
you see,
not when they can walk.
You see teams jumping on things and getting things done and making moves, and that's how things have gone at least the last several years in the NFL. But Jerry likes to wait till the end. He thinks he's going to get a better deal, and he gets a worse deal every single time.
He gets pinched at the end.
We were talking last week on the podcast, wondering if he'll still be 90, 95 years old and still be the GM.
He thinks he will.
Yeah.
He says he is. He's committed.
That's just ridiculous when you think about it. But you're right. If he's still kicking, he'll be up there.
I saw a clip the other day from Dale Hansen, and we're old enough to remember Dale Hansen being the king of Cowboys.
I remember him and Jerry getting into a fight.
Well, it got him fired. Remember this?
Yeah, I do.
Remember what he said?
I don't remember what he said.
Okay, so he asked Jerry this. He said, what are you doing as a GM that wouldn't get you fired or something like this as your own GM?
Oh, yeah.
Or something like
Okay.
He asked him a point blank question.
Would
like
you fire you?
Yeah. Like why are you still there? And what are you doing that a GM wouldn't get fired for? And he almost, I think that was a time where he slapped his hand away and wouldn't shake his hand. And then he ended up somehow, I think that's what got Dale Hansen fired.
Yeah.
He couldn't take that criticism, but that's the question we're all asking.
Yeah, and it's going to be, I was telling Clint last week, as a Cowboy fan, you either have to deal with it or just move on, because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And
And now I think that his son is so indoctrinated that even if he takes over, it might still be the same pattern. I don't know.
At the very least, we've talked about that. Stephen Jones, at the very least, right now, has to sing the same tune, or he won't get the job from Dad.
Mm-hmm.
So he either will be exactly like him, or he's acting like him right now, and then when he does get the job, he can.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah. I'm not hopeful.
I'm that way. My dad and I are complete opposites in the way we run business. So I learned from him what not to do, but I wasn't in this position like he is to have to toe the line.
Yeah.
For years.
Decades.
Yeah.
Long time. I don't know.
A little bit of entertainment news before we hop into the pod. West Wing actors is under scandal right now.
We talk a lot about the West Wing.
Yeah,
on
we're the
pod,
unofficial official podcast of the West Wing.
only because I watch it in perpetuity. I'm a politics nerd, and so I don't know what run I'm through on the West Wing, but I'm in season 7 right now, which is the last season. And when it ends, I'll take a pause and I'll start at season 1 and watch it over again. But this is an interesting, just because, and we have some Twitch followers that also watch the West Wing, and they'll correct me or bring up, if I can't remember what was on an episode, they'll mention it. So we've got that. But Danny Kincannon is the character on the West Wing. He's just one of the reporters. That this is Timothy Busfield, who's also in Field of Dreams, but he's mostly done a lot of directing. And there was a show called The Cleaning Lady he was a director on, and he got accused of sexual assault by 2 of the child actors on that show, which is horrible. I don't know if it's true. He completely denies it and says they got fired from the show, and this is attack from their mom. But nobody knows. But little West Wing history will be following the story of Timothy Busfield to see if he what comes of this. But I don't really like his character, so I don't care too much.
What season does he come in?
Oh, he's there from the beginning.
Okay.
And then he takes breaks and goes and does other things. He's a director, and whatever. But I'm a West Wing fan.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens to Danny.
I don't think I've seen a single episode
Yeah.
of the West Wing.
Okay, so it's a running joke. Clint's like, what episode are you on? And so I started it, and I've gotten like through episode 8 or 9, and I've watched the same episode probably 3 times because
Of season 1.
of season 1.
Yeah,
because
a long way to go.
because it's so the music, and we talked about this. He told me this at the beginning. He was like, the music is fantastic, but it's so calming that it just puts me to sleep because I have to watch it at night because my family's awake. So I'll wait till everybody goes to sleep, and then I'll put it on. I'm like, okay, I'm really into this, and then I'm out like a light because it'll transition and it plays a little symphony or classical music, and then next thing I know, I'm sound asleep.
So you get the open, and then when they come in, because there's one of those shows they used to do a lot of this back in the day where they would show you like 3 minutes, and then they would have the big intro with all the credits and all that.
Yeah.
So that's whenever you knock out.
Exactly.
Man, it's such a good show.
So and sometimes I'll make it through the whole
But
episode.
I'll be on an island for that.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think you're on an island. I think honestly though, when I post the clips about West Wing, a lot of people respond.
Yeah.
It's a high view count.
I don't agree with any of their politics. I mean, because it's they made the show for Clinton. It's a Democrat president, and a lot of the themes are trying to cover up and things that he did and make him seem not so bad. But it is interesting how conservative-ish those Democrat politics were in that show that ran from like 99 to 2006.
Right.
During Bush's presidency is when the show was on right after Clinton. And it is crazy how the arguments they make. I'm like, that's like slightly to the left of Trump.
Yeah. I have noticed
it's still
that.
to the left, but it is nowhere near where we got somehow all of a sudden.
So tonight we have a special guest joining us tonight with Mr. Lee Wells. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, glad to be here. This
Thank
is
you.
awesome. And been looking forward to it. We've had this planned for several weeks.
I guess about a month. It's about a month.
So been looking forward to getting over here. So I've got Wells Burgers. We've got the 2 locations out here, the Rockwall and the new Roy City location, and got the ranch that supplies the beef to that, and then I don't know. I do quite a bit of stuff, and I guess we'll get into some of that here in a little bit.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of mouthy on social media. Got
that's okay.
Almost 16,000 followers on Facebook, and just speak my mind. Try to be kind and respectful, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to say a few things when it needs to be said. And yeah.
I have noticed that.
Yeah, most people have. They unfollow or follow depending on the subject sometimes, I guess.
Well, I was looking at some numbers today, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, even we don't have a huge following on Facebook, maybe just a couple hundred, but like our follower count will go like we'll gain 10 or 15 in one day. if we have a clip or something that hits. And then the next day we'll have 5 or 6 unfollow. Yeah. And I told her, I was like, I know it's not personal. Like, if you don't like what we're doing, that's okay. Sure. But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of want to know, who was this?
Well, some of those are going to be bots.
That's true.
Some of those are just going to be the girls with, 4 friends. And you're looking like, hey, I've got a common friend with that person. I better let them know. Yeah. Anyway, those will fall off. The system will take those away. And that's what I blame it on. Never my content.
I like that.
It's always the bots that fall off.
We only gain real followers.
That's right.
The only ones we lose are bots.
That's right. I'm going to roll with that from now on.
That's how you go to sleep at night. That's how you sleep at night.
So let's talk a little bit about your burger place. I'd been to your place in Rockwall a couple of times. Mm-hmm. As I told you before, I had one of your children as a student. She had something on her notepad about Wells Burgers, and so I asked her, hey, what is this? And so she explained, and so we checked it out a couple of times, and I loved it. Yeah. We would go there on date nights, or it kind of is in the square there in Rockwall, and then there's a cigar lounge that's kind of around the corner. So like every birthday for the last 2 years, we go to Wells Burgers, and we leave there, and then we go over to the cigar lounge and smoke a cigar. But man, I love your food.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'll say for everybody listening who's not local to our area, this guy has quite the reputation for a good burger. Mm-hmm. You ask anybody who's been around for a while, knows the town, be like, where you get a good burger? And Wells Burger is going to be one of the places that gets recommended. Not even just a good burger, but anywhere to go eat, especially downtown. Mm-hmm. That's going to be in the conversation. So quite the reputation, quite the following. You're a new one you just opened up here in our town. I remember scrolling, I'm on all the pages here because I live here, and saw somebody who thought it was pricey. Mm-hmm. And you had 200 people come to your aid in those comments below being like, listen, this is great. This is why it's pricey. It's good food. You got to pay for quality. Like you didn't have to say a word. Your followers were down there fighting your battle for you, saying, listen, it's worth it, So,
well, it is $1 or $2 more than the Orange Building. It's really not. But I guess if you add some stuff to it, it could be. I did a comparison the other day, and it's maybe $1 difference for a meal. But it does feel more pricey, I guess, because if you can add stuff to mine, like we have a high-end crispy bacon that we oven bake, and it's $1.50 if you want to add that. It's, avocado, it's $1.50. So if you wanted to add some stuff to it, make a double, triple. I had a guy the other day make a 4-patty. A 4x4.
I'm here for that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Wait, 4 patties, 4 cheese, 4 bacon?
Just four patties and 4 cheese. Then he had lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion, mayo, mustard. I've got a picture on my phone. I'll show you guys later. And so if y'all do any posts, we'll throw it up for them. Yeah. But anyway,
so the post that I did, not the one with your face on it, but the one before that was the one I got on my birthday. That is a triple meat, triple cheese.
Okay.
With bacon.
And that was from
That's
downtown?
from the Rockwall. That's from the Rockwall location.
That's a lot of meat. That's a third pound. That's a full pound.
Yes, I know.
That's a
I'm
full
well
pound.
Aware. And I ate every ounce of it, and then took the I think it's a ciabatta bun and just got all the rest of it and ate it.
Yeah, it's a potato bun.
Potato bun.
So the reason, for those that don't know about Wells, it's farm to table. So we do our own beef. It's our cattle. But I do something nobody else does for burgers anywhere in the world that I know of. And we use the whole side of beef in the grind. So all the steaks, roast briskets, all the short rib, all of that goes into the grind to make the most premium hamburger meat in the world. It just really is. 7-day dry age. Just, I could go on and on.
Keep going. I'm interested.
All of the stuff.
Yeah.
It's grass finished, but it's no hormones, no antibiotics. It is the cleanest pasture raised, not feedlot. It's just the cleanest beef and the best beef that I know how to put together. We've been doing it for about 7.5 years, and Rockwall about 8.5 years to the public. And so you were talking about, being well known. I think we've won every best burger award since we opened. We're in 20 something awards now, but we won our first best burger award 4 months open. So
wow.
Well, we won Best of Rockwall just 4 months open, and then every year since then we've won Living Magazine, Herald Banner, the local stuff, and those are customers that vote.
Yeah.
It's a community that votes. Not we have nothing to do with it. And so anyway, it's pretty cool, but that's why it's a little more expensive. Hand cut fries, we fry in beef tallow, handmade seasonings, handmade sauces. We don't charge for our sauces. So I have a ranch, a spicy ketchup in Roy City here. I did a fry sauce for, you can do it a burger sauce or a fry sauce. I don't charge for any of the sauces. I mean, that's some places 50 cents a sauce. And I give that to you for free. When you add a double, you're talking about having double or triple. When we add a double patty, we give you another slice of cheese for free. We don't charge you for that. If it's a cheeseburger, that's the way God intended us to eat burgers. Is if you're going to eat a cheeseburger, don't start cutting people's cheese out of it.
It's got to be melted on there too.
It is melted. So we just do things, handmade desserts. It's all done from scratch. And, it's just different. Yeah. And people realize that and appreciate it. So,
yeah, I laugh whenever I saw that comment about it. Somebody thought it was pricey because I drive through the Orange Place too, and I know what that cost me, and it's like you say, maybe $1.
It might be $1.
Maybe $1 too.
What I did, somebody said something about it's good,
and
but
it's so much better.
Yeah,
it's like you say. I was actually curious about that because it's your farm to table. You're raising the cattle. You go to the beef. So I wanted to ask you: do you only grind the ground, or do you grind up everything you have
the whole side?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's my goal when I started was I want to be the best at what I do, and I didn't try to do 3 things or 7 things. I wasn't trying to sell sides of beef. I didn't try to sell steaks. I wanted to be the best hamburger that anybody had ever had. Now, you could argue with me about the way you cook it or the temperature you cook it to, or the seasonings you use, or charcoal versus flat top. I mean, we could talk all that technique all day, but you're not going to find better ground beef than what I do. Yeah. It just doesn't exist. And then it's not going to be any fresher anywhere else. Someone said the other day, I can just make that at home. I'm like, no, unless you have your own cattle. Yeah. And you're going to take some about every 2 weeks. Yeah. You're not going to have fresh beef like that. Yeah. And you can't get that bun. Unless you have commercial accounts, you can't get the level of produce that I buy. You can't buy in the store. Level of mayo that I buy, you can't buy in the store. They don't sell it. Yeah. And so there's things that we do that are literally top of the line. I was telling my marketing guys the other day, I said, I think what I want to do this year is I want to make a campaign that says I could spend less on everything on that burger, but I choose not to. Yeah. There's cheaper cheese, cheaper lettuce, there's cheaper condiments, there's cheaper buns for sure. I could do cheaper on everything, but I just won't do it. No. It's not worth it.
No, don't do that. People get it. Yep. People get it.
Yep. One bite, you know what you're in for.
You know what you're getting in. So everything raised on your ranch, beef wise?
Well, not always raised. We have to source as well. Yeah. So we bring cattle in. We're a cattle company, so we buy and sell cattle just about every week of the year. And so we have to, if we bring it in from another ranch or another source, we have to put it out to pasture. We have to monitor it. We'll let it calve out. We'll do whatever it has to do. And then eventually, once we know what that is, once it's been with us long enough, once we've proven, that it's good stuff and to the weight we wanted and all the metrics are hit, then we can butcher it. But yeah, it takes a lot of effort. I have a full-time guy. That's all he does is run the ranch.
Yeah, we grew up running cows, but just raising our own, selling calves off every spring. But to supply a restaurant like that, you got to be bringing in kind of year round.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, especially after adding the second one. I think we're competing with ourselves over there, at least on the number of cattle it takes to get those burgers made.
Yeah. How many cattle does it take to run a restaurant like that?
Right now we're running about 8 head a month through, so 8 full size, full grown. It's a lot.
A day, you said?
For a month.
For a month.
8 cows. I mean, a cow's going to have 400 to 500 pounds of lean ground on them, and then so that's 2,000 burgers on a 500-pound cow.
Because I saw somewhere you did a breakdown of how many burgers it takes, like how many cows it takes to fund or to supply food for our burgers for everybody in the nation.
Yeah. That was a Facebook post I did a few months ago. And America eats about 50 billion burgers a year. And I was talking about the fact that a lot of our beef is imported.
Okay.
That was when Trump was talking about bringing in beef from Argentina, and everybody was throwing a fit saying, we can't do that. I'm like, well, we've already been doing that.
Yeah.
He just bumped it up like, I think it was 20% or something a year, but everyone was losing their minds about how we can't be doing that. Most of your fast food burgers, I would say most of your burgers are from imported trim, not cattle, imported trim, which are big buckets, big containers of fat and trimmings off of the steaks and the various chucks and various pieces that it's their scrap that we buy. And so that's really what they're talking about importing. And then they grind that here in America, calling it an American beef burger because they grind it here. And then they serve it to you. So, you know, if I think that point of that message was that time that if just McDonald's, if we took the McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King, which are the top 3 burger producing franchises in America, if we did not have imported beef for them, that within 2 years they would have to slaughter every cow on hoof, including our dairy and including calves. They would go
Holy
through
cow.
every single cow we have in America in about 2 years, based on the numbers. So we have to have imported beef right now, or we can't exist.
Yeah, can't supply it. Can't supply the country.
Which is part of what I do too on the side is I'm kind of political in the fact that I try to help with some of those processes, and I almost ran for ag commissioner of Texas this year. I didn't, obviously, but I thought about it very seriously. My team went all the way up to Trump's office asking about and figuring out how to navigate that. And I was welcomed to do it. I just opening Roy City, I just don't have the time right now to campaign in 200 and something counties, and I just don't have the time to do it. But I've still continued to try to help, and so I've got a letter that's sent off this week to Brooke Rollins' office and to her directly, talking about some of these issues. I'll talk about screwworm last episode, or with Brent. We can get into that a little bit, but I sent her a letter talking about that, and then talking about building our herd in America back. And so I stay pretty busy with some of that.
Yeah, I've got a little story about screwworm. We can watch this, and I'd kind of be interested to get your reaction to what a news outlet is saying about it. Gosh, I think this is it.
The federal government plans to build a $750 million fly factory in Texas to combat a flesh-eating cattle parasite. Here's what we know. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins announced plans to release billions of sterile male New World screwworms from a new facility at Moore Air Base outside Edinburgh, Texas, about 20 miles from the U.S.-Mexico border. The factory will breed sterile male flies in massive numbers. When wild females mate with them, the resulting eggs will not hatch. Since female screwworm flies can only mate once in their week-long lifespan, this process is expected to wipe out infestations and keep flesh-eating maggots from crossing into the United States. Officials warn that if the parasitic flies enter the country, their larvae could devastate livestock, causing billions in economic losses. The infestation could also raise beef prices, which are already at record highs, and spread to wildlife, pets, and, in rare cases, humans. The project includes $100 million in technology, such as fly traps and lures. This marks a shift from traditional prevention methods, which relied on horseback tick riders, patrolling the border, and trained dogs detecting parasites. Rollins also said the border will remain closed to cattle, horse, and bison imports from Mexico until the parasite threat is eliminated. The goal is to push the screwworm population back toward Panama, where it had been contained until late last year through sterile fly breeding. The U.S. has already halted cattle, horse, and bison imports at least 3 times this year. At a press conference with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Rollins said, "Farm security is national security." This is not the first time the U.S. has used used sterile male fly releases. The same strategy was employed in the 1970s to eradicate another pest. Mexico's Agriculture Ministry also signed a screwworm control action plan this month, requiring livestock to move only through government-certified corrals as a part of its monitoring efforts.
Corals.
Yeah. You sure that wasn't AI?
Yeah, I know.
So my question is, well, I didn't even know this was an issue. If I'm being honest with you, I was talking to Brent, to Mr. Money about how you get picked for your committees and how a freshman gets picked for your committees and all that stuff. And he then told us that he was on the agricultural committee. And then he started talking about the screwworm. I had no idea that this was even an issue. And seems like this would be something we should know about.
It's definitely something he should know about.
Yeah.
And they should be taking action on, and they are. This is one of the reasons why I was really considering running for ag commissioner, is because really that should have been already handled. And I don't want to ever be taken as a guy that's being negative. I try to be positive every day of my life, but our ag commissioner has just not done a good job. And that was my motivation for stepping up, is because you can gripe and complain on social media and it doesn't change a thing.
Sure.
How about stepping up and doing something? Yeah. And so that's my belief, and that's the way I live. And so if I'm going to say something, I'm going to do something about it, or try to. And which is why I've got letters and I've got communication going up all the way to USDA's Secretary's office now. Because I'm not going to let not running for an office stop me from doing everything I can do, because this cattle industry has everything to do with my future as well. Yeah. In my business, my product. We were talking about pricing a while ago. If beef keeps going up, burgers keep going up, and beef becomes a new caviar. Right. There's already stores throwing away beef now because it's so expensive. It's going out of date and people aren't buying it. We're already to a really bad place, and everyone's concerned with all kinds of other things, which we should be concerned with. Venezuela. We should be concerned with, all the stuff, but it doesn't minimize the problem that we're in.
Right.
And so back to screwworm, we should have already licked this. We should have already had these issues handled. They should not have come within 130 miles of our border. They should not be where they are right now. In my letter, I ask to have her consider my plan, which is to continue sterile flies, which is how we beat it in the 50s and 60s. But why wouldn't we, when we know there's a case, why wouldn't we attack that area with defensive measures and even offensive measures? Why wouldn't we? Zoetis is a distributor, a marketing arm of a vaccine company. They have a 30-day injectable that would kill the larvae and take care of them. Why wouldn't we take 30 miles on that area? We're going to spend, what was this, said 10 million, 100 million? What was that number?
Oh, it was a lot.
I thought it was $100 million.
$100 million for a fly factory. How about we do this? Why don't we call Zoetis and say, hey, give us some pricing, give us a team. We'll put together some cowboys, and we'll go to Mexico, and we will offer for free to treat every one of those guys. Because here's the problem they don't have right now. Their problem is they can't import to us. They can't export to us.
Right.
We can't take, and other than Canada, Mexico's the only place that we can import live cattle. Really. I mean, yeah, you can get them on a boat or an airplane and bring them in from somewhere. But the chances of that working in the numbers that we need are very, very slim. So Mexico being shut down for at least a year and a half now for all intents and purposes is part of what drives up our beef prices, because our herds are already low. So our cattle herds are already in 1950 numbers. Like we're at the place that we were at 1950. And that's not a good thing. To be 75 years behind in a growing society, we're not getting less folks on this planet to feed. And that's just part of the problem is we've got to fix this now. We should have already had this fixed. And it's kind of embarrassing that it's still a problem. And so, it is a problem. We do not want that here. I can't fault them for shutting down imports. I can't fault them for taking all the precautions that they are, because we do not need that here. But we certainly could do more with it down there and knock it out. I mean, even aerial sprays. I mean, we could get into some things. Throw a helicopter up in the air over these guys and these cattle. Pin these cattle up and spray them. There's things that we could be doing. We could be partnering with these vaccine companies and these companies that give us the medicines, and we buy medicines for all these other problems. We could be doing more, and we don't have the leadership in Texas, which is why I'm pretty outspoken about the leadership that we do have needing to be better. So
it seems, especially on some of these doomsday type of events, like how serious it could be if it comes across our border, that the population just it's not close enough to them for them to care. And that's where leadership has to step in and say, no, this is a serious problem. Because as long as they keep driving through the drive-through and the burger keeps coming in the bag, they're not going to feel that. As long as there's still ground beef to be had or any type of beef to be had whenever they go to the supermarket, as long as they can still go get their steak, they're not going to feel the pain and realize that problem is just, 100 miles south of our border. And if it comes across, it's a major issue.
But then
we raise a few cows in Texas,
What could you do? What could I do as citizens? I don't know what we could do to fix that problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you call somebody and tell them go get on that problem. You call your rep and say, what are y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
But really, the guys, like you said, the guys that are in the positions who do understand the problem should be doing the work.
Yeah.
And we don't have that leadership here. We've actually lost our placement really in the national scene because we don't have leadership in Texas for our agriculture. When I say I'm seriously considered running, I considered running, and I just couldn't figure out how to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I didn't have the passion or the ability to go run and probably win. I just can't do all of it, and I've got 2 kids, as you know.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of things that I do that I would have to set aside. I pastor a church. I would probably have to put that on hold. I'd have to probably resign and go do that. Be in Austin throughout the year. I would take it serious. I'd be in D.C. I'd be making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe someday in the future I will. I don't know. But right now I know that this is a problem we've got to fix, or it just keeps getting out of control. It just keeps spiraling if we don't.
But I think this is part of the problem. Like, I promise you, the people that we talk to in our audience and the people that listen to us had no idea with a person like Representative Money coming on and even just voicing a somewhat of a concern in his knowledge of it. And then this is how we fix this issue. You let people know, right? If people don't know about it, like I have, my circle is teachers and educators and things like that. So like, I promise not many of us are out on ranches or were raised on ranches, and coaches. But I had no idea. And I feel like I'm a pretty educated person as far as the current events go. And this just kind of started coming on my radar ever since we had that conversation with him. And so I think this is how you fix it if you don't have a foot in the door like you do or like a Representative Money does. Like, you just got to keep talking about it, and eventually the pressure will be applied.
Educating the public is what has been so amazing about the podcast movement in general.
Yeah, 100%.
Is we're not getting, curated stories from news anchors with fake voices.
Yeah.
You're getting, it doesn't even know how to say corral.
Yeah.
But you're getting real talk from real people who live in a real world. And that's what made guys like Rogan so powerful, so big, is he's talking about stuff that matters. And I agree. That's why I'm here. And that's why I have my own podcast as well. Is we gotta keep talking. We got to keep educating.
So one of the things about Rogan that I didn't even really know he existed until COVID, right? We were on a break where you're kind of just sitting around and you're trying to figure out what's about to happen. And then you need some entertainment because I'm tired of watching the news every day or all day because that's all that's on. And so I wanted to ask you about COVID and your business and how did you manage that in and out? What was that like? How did you adjust? What things did you have before that you don't now? And how did that work?
Well, I think the answer is pretty simple. We just did what it took. We did what the market demanded.
Okay.
So we continued serving our full menu, but we also added family meals and met people in the middle. We gave them an affordable family meal that we got together for them. They came by, picked up after work, put in the oven, finished. So we had a meatloaf night. We had a enchilada night. We had a build your burger night. So we'd send home the patties seasoned with the buns, put it all together in a bag, in a box. You take it home in 15, 20, 30 minutes, you had dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made it easy for people to cook at home because so many people were having to cook at
Right.
home. We did a lot of carry out the front door stuff. One of our ad campaigns during the COVID time was I was standing there with a box or a couple bags of food, and I said, guys, when you order a meal from us, we're going to throw in a roll of toilet paper. And now normally that would not work. That would not be something you would want to say. This meal requires toilet paper.
Yeah.
But at the time it fit, and it really caught on and just spread across Rockwall, and people are like,
I think I remember that.
this is
funny.
the guy that gets it. So we could actually get toilet paper because through my suppliers, we've got
Gotcha.
big boxes of toilet paper.
Yeah.
And so, man, it was a real need. I mean, we remember it was
yes.
a real thing. You
Yeah.
could not buy toilet paper.
Yeah.
And so with every meal from Wells, you got to roll of toilet paper. So, I think part of that's just trying to make the best of a really bad situation. It was really bad. We don't ever want to go back to that level of crazy. But during that, you just handle it. You kind of, the pivot was a word that people overused during that time, but it's what we did. We pivoted. We did a pivot. We started serving what people needed in their homes. Meet that need. If you've been in my restaurant in the very back room in Rockwall, the back dining, there's a ledge all the way around. I've got a picture on my phone somewhere. We had it either 3 or 4 stacked all the way around that room, waiting on people like at 4 or 5 to come by and pick up their meals. And I don't even know how many hundreds of meals we did. We turned that whole back room into a prep kitchen and set tables up in the middle of it. And we had to rent another kitchen across town to be able to bake off enough brownies and enough pans of food to be able to serve people because we just pivoted. And I think the bottom line is you just don't give up. You don't throw in the towel. You don't say, oh, well, that didn't, this isn't going to work. We just found a way to make it work anyway. Yeah. Which is a lesson in life for all of us, really.
100%.
People nowadays are saying, well, food costs us too high and we can't find anybody to work for us and, all these things. Well, that's true. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to shut down your business? You're going to go home? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? Yeah. You're going to find a way. That's what we're going to do. And that's what we're going to continue doing right now. Finding a way to do it.
Well, I also would like to thank you because I haven't seen the employees at the Express Burger place yet, but the one in Rockwall and then the one that you had in Caddo, that was the trailer. Mm-hmm. You employed a lot of high school kids there. Mm-hmm. And being in a high school right now, a lot of them are struggling to find jobs. Mm. Now, there's a whole variety of problems with that, Some of them it's their fault. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And you can pick those kids out, but then a lot of them are truly they just can't find jobs. Mm-hmm. But I want to thank you for continuing to hire those kids. The couple of times that I did go to the Express trailer that you had there by the fire department.
The truck,
I knew the high school kids that were working there.
Uh-huh.
And so I would say, hey, I appreciate you guys, whatever. And they always pointed back to you, and just kind of your leadership and hiring them.
Yeah. We have some good folks, good kids that work for us. And Roy City has some of those same folks. We moved that crew to Roy City when we closed that truck. That was a plan all along.
Gotcha.
Was when the location brick and mortar opened, we would close the truck and move that team there. And that's what we've done. But it's they're good folks. Now, not everybody works out.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Not we hired and fired a guy within 2 days this last week because he was crazy. But it's you also come across some really good kids
Right.
that you can help learn how to work. A lot of kids, like I was raised working.
Right.
I was 12 years old driving a tractor, helping dad milk cows, and it wasn't an option for us. We grew up. I just grew up working, but these kids don't. They grow up, with video games and iPads and cell phones, and they're just a different group of people. It's a different day, but there's a lot of them that really do want to work. They want to be productive, and they do a good job once you teach them a few things.
Yeah, I grew up the same way, and I have a 17-year-old, and then she's going to be 18 in a couple weeks, and I got a 13-year-old going to be 14 in about a week or so. Where this is birthday season for us, right after Christmas. It's real convenient. Real convenient.
Yeah.
We got 5 of the 6 have birthdays in the first 3 months of the year, plus my wife. And
I think you need to rephrase that. Plus your wife.
Plus my wife.
There you go.
Her too. It's wonderful. It's just great.
Yeah.
But
You wouldn't have it any other way.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I absolutely love it.
Right.
It's wonderful. But my oldest, she's got a job. She's working in a restaurant, and I spent first 10 years of my life after high school working in restaurants and working my way up it. And so there's a lesson learned in food service that I think it's hard to teach anywhere else. And just because of the demand, and then learning, and like you say, some people are good at it, some people are not, but learning how to really serve people and be a good customer service and handle adversity. Things don't go right, things go wrong, but
Working as a team.
All of
it.
And it is. I got a little nugget the other day. She sent me a picture at work, and they had put her on a different prep thing, and I was like, "Hey, I saw you, prepping this and everything." She said, "Yeah." She said, "There's only like 2 jobs I don't know how to do in the restaurant now," and she's loving it.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing that. Now she's not going to work in restaurants her whole life. She wants to go be a nurse. She's going to school to be a nurse, and that's great and everything. But I like how the desire and the grit that she has for you don't want your kid to go to their new job and just stand there and get told what to do all the time. Mm-hmm. You want them to have some ambition and some gumption to go after it and find the work to do. And I'm seeing some of that from her in work, and I'll go up there to the restaurant and see her work and kind of just sit back there and watch, a little bit. And it's
all of those skills
I just
are
like
transferable into
yes,
the real world.
It is.
They
it really is.
Yeah.
And
People, teams, dealing with
Communication.
situations,
All of it.
All of it
Absolutely.
works.
And just having to show up somewhere at a certain time. Like they kind of get that with school a little bit, but this is it's a little bit different. I'm not, as a parent, I'm not monitoring her work schedule and her work performance. Like her manager's not calling me and saying Emily sounded like a teacher would, so she is kind of on her own in that, where she gets to kind of handle that. And so she'll say, well, I don't really feel like going in. I'm like, well, are you sick? No. Like, well,
We'll see you after work.
you see what? Yeah, I know. Like
see you after shift.
You like having a car. You like having a house. Like these things. And just kind of seeing that at a smaller scale, and kind of telling her, I said, I don't want to be a bearer of bad news, but you got about 4 years of college coming up, and you'll have your summers. But after that, you're just going to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Dad goes to work every day. This whole work thing, you're just getting started. There's a lot more where that came from.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I wanted to wrap back to beef prices just a little bit. And for those not from the state of Texas and Oklahoma, a couple of years ago, we had a really, really bad drought. This will lead us into your panhandle fires and stuff as well. So I want to kind of start with that. But does the current beef price have something to do with the fact that there were a lot of farmers, especially in this area? I won't speak for outside of this area, but like I know specifically in East Texas, the slaughterhouse in Emory and the slaughterhouse in Sulphur Springs were absolutely packed because they couldn't afford to feed the cattle. And this was after COVID. So I was talking to somebody about it. I think it was 2023-ish, 2022, 2023. Are we still seeing the residual effects of that?
Oh yeah. Anything adverse that happens in a market is a contributing factor to it. So yeah, the droughts, and the problem with that is is when you have a drought and you sell off, when you take those cattle to market, most of them don't end up on a green pasture somewhere. They end up on a truck that goes to a dock that becomes our food. And so once those numbers leave the population, it's very hard to get them back into the population,
Right.
because then it's a slow process. You know, it's 9 months gestation, then it's another year before they're, you know, up and going off their mama, and then a few more months, maybe another year, 8 months of feed out. I mean, it's a whole process that that it takes to regain. And that's another thing that I wrote to the Secretary's office this week, is we really need to address that lack of population. And yes, to answer your question, all of those things are still felt. Absolutely. You know, the droughts, the bad weather, the different things that have happened. There was, you know, a few years ago, they found feedlots with, you know, 4,000 cattle just dead over a week's period. And, you know, things like that, they add up. We saw that in chicken houses, but chickens, you know, are a lot faster to come back around. You can rebound in 4 to 6 months, where it may take 4 to 6 years with a targeted program that actually does help ranchers before we could actually see that come back.
Yeah.
So my thought, just to throw this in, my thought for the USDA, I think we need a heifer replacement program. That's what I think we need. I think I know we have a supply and demand problem, right? So the supply is low, the demand is high, the cost is high. The only way you're going to fix that is by having more calves on the ground. That's it. There's no special formula other than we need more mama cows, having more baby cows. And then we keep doing that over and over to get more cows. That's it. Doesn't get any simpler than that, and there's no other solution. So why not just tell everyone to keep their heifers? Because heifers bring almost as much as steers do right now.
Right.
And so what's keeping someone who's making good money on selling anything on 4 legs to tell them stop doing that? Well, they're not going to. They're going to keep selling off everything. They're going to send all their heifers to feedlots. They're not going to keep them. They're just making too much money. So how do you stop that process? You put an incentive in place that says, if you'll keep this heifer, we'll give you X number of dollars a year. We do it with CRP programs. So CRP program is a conservation program. Out in West Texas, it happens a lot. They'll say, if you'll not put any cattle, you'll not put any crops on this acreage, we'll pay you so much an acre to keep it fallow. And then we'll do that for a couple of years. That way we're not overproducing, or we've got good grass on the land, and we're not going to get into a dust bowl situation. There's lots of reasons why. They're paying people, actually in that case, not to produce on land, CRP. It happens all over the United States. Well, we need that kind of concept to help us get more heifers. So if a rancher says, you know, my calculation is, if across the number of, I think we're at 700 or 900,000 ranches, I don't have the number in front of me, but if everyone on average would keep 20 heifers back a year, and maybe we give them $1,000 a heifer, $20,000 for that ranch. Now they have enough money and incentive to feed that heifer, buy more hay, maybe get some more leased ground, whatever it takes to house those extra 20. Well, the next year, because nobody's going to leave heifers not covered by a bull. If you're in the business, you're going to put a bull over those heifers, and they're going to have a calf in 6 to 12 months. Now you've got double the number of heifers, right? So you can see how compounding interest, right, in your loans, you could see in your investment, you're compounding numbers of calves, because in 3 years now, those first calves are going to be ready to have calves. And so you've got a compounding. It's only going to take 5 or 6 years for us to get out of the 50s numbers and back to at least the late 90s numbers of our population. Therefore, there's going to be more cows, and the demand is probably going to stay where it's at, but now your supply is coming back up to meet it. So we're not talking about Argentinian meat. We're not talking about these other companies or countries, Brazil, continuing to increase their amount of imports. I mean, that can't be the answer.
Yeah.
Right.
That can't be the long-term answer.
Right.
It has to be that America has the beef back on the soil that we need to have to supply our own.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is, you've got all this money to build these facilities, and you're sending, what was it, 200 billion or 20 billion for soybean farmers a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. You're throwing billions around. You got tariff money. Let's put some money over here on these ranchers. Let's invest in these ranchers so they can invest back into the American cattle population, so we can dig ourselves out of this thing. I think it would take 4 to 6 years if everyone would participate. Some can't do 20, but some can do 100. Mm-hmm. And so my average numbers of 20, I think, are doable. We'll see what Ms. Rollins says about this. But if we could do a serious program, the ranchers on TikTok, the TikTok ranchers will be they'll be up in there. We don't need the government. Stay out. They're the first ones to cash a drought check every year. Yeah. Shut up. Yeah. Stop it. Yeah. Quit pounding your hat in the dirt.
TikTok farmers. That is fantastic.
The TikTok ranchers are mouthy.
Yeah.
You'll be the first one to take this program.
Yeah.
And
100%.
keep some heifers. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be honest about it. So here's a follow-up question about that. And I don't know anything about this. Nobody may know anything about this, but talking about what you're talking about, you're going to have more land to increase the herds, things like that. Is land scarcity a problem? You hear from the news, and I don't know if it's overplayed or not, about China and these foreign countries buying up a lot of farmland, Bill Gates buying up a bunch of farmland, whatever it is. Is that an issue?
There's still plenty of ranch land.
Yeah.
We've still got a lot of open space in Texas. We feel this here because we're in a growing metro area.
Right.
So for us, all the land's getting sold off to developers. You drive 30 miles north, south, east, or west of the Metroplex, and you're back out in the country.
Right.
You're okay. Yeah. Take a trip to Amarillo.
Yeah. I'll pass.
But
I'm joking.
But you'll see.
Plug your nose when you get there.
That's beautiful. But
it's God's country.
But take a trip anywhere, any direction. Drive down any direction from here. There's plenty of country. Yes, it is a problem. It's a contributing factor like drought, that developers are buying up land, and that is certainly felt here.
Yeah.
They're going to put houses up to my north fence in the next year, and it makes me sick. Mm-hmm. I don't like it either. But is there a shortage of land in general? No. You just have to go expand out and go lease some more pasture if you need to, or whatever it is. Everybody's got to make their decisions that they're making. They've got to do buy some more hay. You've got to just figure out what it is for your situation. But you put a little money on top of that, and the incentive is there. The will make a way.
Yeah.
Is what I believe.
Yeah.
So
good for me.
This is a very, very local conversation for those listening. Coming from Bucky's into Roy City, there's those two creek bottoms that run right through there. Mm-hmm. And for my entire life, that's where the rancher that owned that land ran his cattle. And then one day they start building houses there. And my dad and I would have this conversation every time we would drive over that. And I would say, how are they going to keep the water out of that?
Yeah.
It just sounds, this looks like a bad idea. Mm-hmm. And now they're trying to build a bridge, and it's called, now I think we're in year 8 or 9 of that, because it keeps washing out. And I always think to myself, this is just government at its finest right here. Because and development, like, you're literally building this in a area of flood zone. Mm-hmm. It's not new. It's been flooding since I moved here when I was 3.
That whole area.
The whole area.
The whole thing. And they built it up some when they put those houses
still,
on there. But these people have no idea they're moving out here, I'm like, man, you need to go talk to somebody at the local whatever and ask them, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house over here. I'm like, yeah, that's been underwater at least once a year, every year I've been here.
Well, and now that where the Exxon is there at 548, a lot of people don't know that is not on ground. That is literally built over a creek.
Yeah.
So when they built
it's up on I-beams.
Yes, they built it on top. That's why it's taking so long to fix that portion of land. Mm-hmm. And then where the bridge goes over in Roy City, right there at 548, all that water would run underneath over into that creek bottom, right where they're building 2 restaurants now. And I'm just thinking to myself, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one that's thinking this may not be a good idea.
We've turned into old timers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
The color of our hair is going to get grayer talking about
hey,
this.
not mine. Mine is gone. Mine is gone.
They're building houses on the place next to me, and I've actually told the guys before. I said, "Did y'all not pull maps? Because I grew up out here, and all of that. You're not putting a house out there." And now what they're doing is they're right on the back end of me digging the biggest hole in the ground that you could ever imagine, which maybe will make a good fishing hole. I don't know, but they're pulling dirt to pull up there.
Yeah, the
to
retention
try to make
ponds,
it work, and they're building it up. I don't know, 6 or 8 feet across that whole field. I keep. Well, I hope no one's listening to me that is doing that project, but I keep praying that they just stall out and maybe home sales over there stop or something. It's disheartening. But to answer the question, I think there's plenty of land to run cattle in. You know, you get out East Texas. I mean, there's plenty of land. Some better than here. You get up in Sulphur Springs, Sulphur Bluff.
Oh man,
they great grasslands up there. Great wide open spaces. Got a lot of cattle. Yeah.
I was joking about West Texas. My dad's family lives in West Texas, out in Abilene, just outside in a little town called Ty. And my dad we'd come up Ranger Hill there on 20. Yeah. He would just breathe that West Texas air, guys. It's just, this is God's country out here. And he would be on cloud nine the whole time.
You don't want to take a deep breath.
Restaurant still there?
Which one?
The one on Ranger Hill? Is that
I haven't. It's been a couple years.
Ranger Hill's not there anymore. You drive around it now.
Oh, I hadn't been out there in a while.
Yeah, I guess I went out there probably 3 years ago. Was the last time I drove out there, and
I'm sure
Ranger
the
Hill
old road's probably still there, but you drive around it now. But you don't want to take a deep breath driving into Amarillo, though. We one of our trips a couple of years ago, because anytime you have a Texas road trip, the first day of the road trip is just trying to get out of Texas.
Yes. Yes.
And so we drove up to Amarillo because we're going to head into Colorado and across to Moab. And the kid's like, "Dad, what does that smell?" I said, "That's Amarillo. That's the feedlots. Those are cattle." And then we drove past a couple of them, and then we stopped there, and we were going to eat at the Big Texas Steak Ranch. And one of my kids wouldn't eat a steak. He's like, "Dad, the cows up here stink. I ain't eating the steak."
Well, those feedlot guys call that the smell of money.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, we lived in Sulphur Springs every Monday. I can't remember if it was every first Monday of the month or if it was every other Monday. You'd go to the Walmart there, and you could smell the feedlot right there. I mean, because it was within 100 yards of that Walmart. Excuse me.
It's every Monday.
Yeah. So
we're there about every Monday. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
But when we first moved out there, it was shocking.
They had to dig retention ponds on the back end of that.
Really?
To be able to handle that waste. Yeah.
Interesting.
Had to spend a lot of money on that.
That's the first time I knew when I moved out to East Texas that I learned about waste ponds. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that was an actual thing. Great for duck hunting, by the way, for those that don't know. We should tell our buddy. You've kind of covered everything that we want to talk to you about. I do have one other question. How do you eat your steak?
Medium.
Okay.
Do y'all? This is gonna be a dumb question, but it's kind of it's kind of the way it goes. The guy who's a plumber never fixes his pipe in his house, that kind of thing. So how often do y'all have burgers at home?
We don't have burgers at home, not very often, because I have them almost every day
at work
when I'm working.
Yeah.
We do slaughter our own steer, so we have our own beef. I haven't bought beef, and we don't buy beef. So we've got our own. We need to do another one, really. But yeah, we supply beef to the ranch hands and the people that work for us there. So yeah, we medium is the right answer, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Because medium rare is basically beef sushi, and you just got to chew it. I mean, why not just go ahead and cook it, and then if you get past medium into medium well, I had a steak today that was supposed to be medium but was not. It just, again, you get chewier again, and so to me, when it's medium is when that grain change is over. Mm-hmm. So when you go from slick to that grain change is really where it opens up, and the juices it's the juiciest. That's where it's got the most, to me, the most flavor and the most juice. And then you so you kind of have to get into that, to the medium, and then when you get past that, you start going into not so good. But that's the way I like it. You can just eat it raw out of the package if you want. It doesn't bother me. I'm fine, but I'm not joining.
I'm judging you if you do that.
Yeah, I'm not joining.
I'm judging you if you eat it blue rare. I used to have a buddy that I'd go out to eat with, and he would just order it blue rare, and I'm like, man, they don't cook it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get any of the.
There's not any flavor in that.
Yeah, and then I had a buddy that would be the polar opposite, and he liked his extra well done with A1 sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing?
No.
What are you doing? We're at a very expensive
That's
steakhouse.
worse. If you have to pick one end of the spectrum to be on,
I don't know, man.
pick-
They're
pick-
both
They're
pretty bad.
picking
well done is worse.
It's equally questionable.
well done. Okay, well done with ketchup. You got to be worse.
I don't know. I had a buddy of mine that ate things so rare. He told me the story about going camping one time, and it rained every day. And like on the second day, they couldn't get a fire going, and they were so hungry. He said, "I just opened that package of hamburger meat, just put some salt and
Hamburger
pepper on
meat?
it." And he said, "I just started eating it." He said, "I had to eat
Steak is
something."
one thing, but hamburger meat.
That's I didn't say he was all there. He just told me the story about it. I can't do it. Not even for my hamburger meat, which is
At least get a lighter or
which is
something.
great,
Just
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not doing it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your movies. In doing some research about you, I knew that you were obviously a restaurant owner. I knew that you had a ranch, but I did not know that you were a movie producer. And
I didn't know I was either.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I was involved in helping get supplies and support out to the ranchers that were affected by the wildfires in the Panhandle. So February 24 was the record fire in Texas. 1.5 million acres burned. So to put that in perspective, you can go 100 miles wide and then drop down. What the fire was doing, the fire started on the western side of the Panhandle there, and then it was being driven with a wind to the east, and it went about 100 miles. Almost, it went up into the Oklahoma Panhandle, and then the winds changed and went south at 60 to 70 miles an hour, and just drove that fire straight across those canyons and that. A lot of the CRP land that had a lot of 5-foot grass stands in it, and jumping across those canyons, and it was an amazing, horrifying thing. And so 3 major counties, almost all the way burned. Just it's horrible. 1.5 million acres, if you can imagine that.
It's a lot of land.
It's more than we can actually really comprehend in just sitting here. I did a couple posts about it back in the day when I was helping raise funds for this, and I forget how many Manhattans and how many New Yorks. I did a few comparisons to try to help us understand how big this is, but it's really hard to understand it. Anyway, all these guys were burned out, and some lost a lot of cattle. Some were able to keep some of their cattle up. And they were able to kind of, when they started seeing this happen, they went to go pin cattle and try to save them, but then they didn't have anything to feed them. Oh. So people in our area here were amazing. They donated hay. We donated some hay. They donated. I went to the feed yard or the co-op in Sulphur Springs and talked to Chuck, and I said, "Hey man, I need some feed. I need a lot of feed." And all the box stores, you know the names, the local feed stores, they all just said, no, get lost kind of a deal. And so I said to Chuck, I said, hey, what can you do? Can you help me? He called me back. He said, I'll make feed for you at cost as long as it goes to the Panhandle. So total, we moved about 500,000 pounds of feed out of our area to the Panhandle to ranchers. And so we ended up using a feed that was all-purpose, so horses, cattle, sheep, goats, even wildlife could use it. And so we were sending it out in 1-ton sacks, bulk sacks, and it was amazing. People all over our area. I've got a truck, I've got a semi, I've got a flatbed, and I would just send them. Me and a team, we were coordinating all this. We'd send them up, tell them how many pounds or how many bulk sacks, and they would load up and just take off. And then they would end up as drop zones up there in the fire zones. We were connected with them, and then hay from ranches from, I'm telling you, almost Texarkana to other side of Dallas. I mean, just coordinating and just as much as we could move up there. Well, in the midst of all of that, one day I thought, you know what, we better take a camera and just see what we can capture, because in a rain, it's going to be gone. It's going to be green again. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't take long for burned ground to flip back and sprout with a little bit of moisture. So I called a buddy of mine. He wasn't available. Called another one. Make a long story short, a guy at Wiley that I knew, he said, I can't go tomorrow. He said, but I can go the next day. So 4 a.m. we load up, and I got about probably $200,000 worth of equipment in the back of my truck with 4K cameras and all kinds of stuff, light kits, I mean, the whole thing. And so we go and ended up getting 7 interviews on that one trip, on that 2-day trip. Ranchers, several ranchers. I got interviews that Tucker Carlson couldn't get. I'm telling you, I got interviews that nobody could get. They weren't going to sit down and talk to anybody. But since I was a rancher and since I was helping, there was a place in their heart. And so we sat down in their living room or their kitchen, and then here comes all these light cameras and all this stuff. And
for some of those guys, I bet it was a little overwhelming. I
told one guy, I said, what is this for? And I said, well, we're thinking about if we can get this story put together, maybe going to Amazon or Netflix or something and streaming it. He said, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Straight face.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that is. And so it was amazing. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, other than my father's funeral. And I got home from all that, and my wife said, you're not talking much. For a couple of days, I didn't talk much. It was one of those things that you live through with them, sitting there. I mean, you're crying with them. There's no shame. I mean, these big, tough ranchers. The one guy that told me that, his wife told a lady I was with that was helping us, she said, I've seen my husband cry 2 times in our 30-plus year marriage. And I think it was one when his father died, maybe when his daughter got married or something. And she said he's cried every day since this fire hit. And we're there on day 20.
Wow.
And so he's got a little wadded up Kleenex that he keeps popping out of his pocket and doing this the whole time we're talking. And I don't care how big of a man you are. I don't care how tough you think you are. You sit across the table from a man that's lost everything and doesn't know how he's going to make it. And he doesn't know what, how he's ever going to do ranching again, which is all he knows. And it'll break you. Yeah. It will break you. So anyway, we put all that together. I made 3 trips total. Went back out, did some more interviews on a second trip with some people who were involved in the drop zones and various other places, and talked to different people. And then went back out with a drone operator and a drone pilot, and we shot some aerial for a couple of days. And so brought it back and ended up editing it down with a guy and sent it in this last year. We've spent most of the year going through film festivals, and ended up with a couple of featured spots, and then we ended up winning 5 awards this last year.
Wow.
With that film. And so right now, a Netflix buyer has it in front of them, and Angel Studios passed on it because they told us last week it's too specific. It wasn't broad enough for their audience, but maybe Netflix won't feel that way. And then if they do, we'll just keep pushing to somebody else to see it. But I've shown this in every one of those festivals. I've shown it probably 5 times across the fire zone, a couple times, one time in Greenville, and I don't think there was a dry eye one anytime I've shown it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's tough. It's tough to watch, but then you're imagining living it through with them, and it's tough to imagine that. It's kind of hard to watch. I even show a girl stepping off a side by side and shooting one of her bulls because you had to do it, and it's just that real. I didn't cut anything out that was, I didn't soften it any. I had a couple ladies one time say they had to leave. I talked to her just last week. She said, I was at your show in Greenville and I left. It was just too hard. I said, ma'am, with all due respect, if you couldn't watch it, can you imagine what they had to do living it?
To live it,
And so I didn't pull any punches. I let it all show. Forklifts lifting bloated cattle into dump trucks. That's what they lived. It's rough. But it's an amazing story.
How long does the fallout? Is it still happening? Is the fallout still occurring?
It is. Some of that they won't recover because this is the third fire. So this
Gotcha.
is the third big fire. They had one in 18 and one in 06. One was 500,000 acres. One was 900,000 acres, I believe. And it's been a while since I've looked at that. But then this one's 1.5. And they talk about this in the film that it takes about 6 years for that grass to come back, and there's a lot of sandy soil up there, and it's really hard for it to come back.
Yeah.
When we went back out, I've been out several times since, and looked at some of these places that we shot, and it's weedy. It's real.
Gotcha.
It's real weedy. It's like what we would have here for Johnson grass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just cover grasses, and at least it's holding the soil there, but it's not of any value. So it's going to take a while.
So New York City is approximately 200,000 acres.
So how many of those?
Yeah, 4 of them.
Four,
Four, almost 5.
Yeah, 5 New York cities.
As perspective for those listening.
It's crazy. With the drone footage that we have, we get up in the air as high as you want to go, and then spin. And it's hilly, it's cap rocks, it's canyons, it's Old West, it's beautiful country, and the rise and the fall. But you get up and spin that, and you cannot see anything but just charred black soil,
Man,
for as far as you can see, and that's a drone up in the air, and that's as far as you. I mean, you could drive for 45 minutes, an hour, and see nothing but just black.
man.
Hard to imagine.
That's a lot.
It is.
As I said with Mr. Money, this would be a time where we would
Ponder.
Because that's a heavy topic.
I was able to go back up into that area, and we picked 5 movie theaters, old movie theaters in these old towns, and arranged to show the film to the locals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was $5 a ticket or something, just to help cover our expenses for coming up there. And so I spent a week on the road, and man, I can't explain to you how your hand feels after it has been shaken so hard by so many real hardworking men.
Yeah.
But they would rather squeeze my hand, and I got a pretty good size one. They would rather squeeze my hand than squeeze a tear out.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
boy, after 20 minutes of just when they left, I'd stand at the door and I'd thank them for coming. And it's even hard to talk about now because they would, at the last, and we don't have to talk about this much, but at the last I come back and I do a close on it. And in the credits, I say there's a special message from me. I come back, I talk about rancher suicide, and it's twice that of veterans.
Wow.
Yeah, and so when you start looking at farmers and rancher suicide data, it's startling, and nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a farmer, a rancher, and not be a God-fearing person because your faith is literally in the ground and in the rain and in the Creator, right? So it's very hard to come across a rancher that's not. And Christians don't want to talk about. They just don't talk about suicide.
Right.
We're unsure sometimes about that and what that means. The Bible's not real clear. And so because of that, and it's so horrible, we don't talk about it. And because we don't talk about it, people don't know. Like you said earlier, talking about things and podcasts and getting information out is how we fight. It's how we educate. It's how we do make change. Well, we don't talk about that.
No.
Nobody does.
No.
And so one of the cool things that happened, the people who came up to me afterwards, and they said, really appreciate that last message. You know, my uncle, my husband,
Wow.
my brother-in-law. I mean, just one after another, after another. My point in that coming back was that we saved lives.
Right.
And I talked to some judges, and one of the judges says, man, we didn't have any on this deal. Usually on the fire like this, we do. He said, I really believe it was from the outpouring of hope that came through the supplies that kept people alive.
Kept going.
And I know that we did. I know we saved lives. Anyway, it's not to take it down even farther than where we were, but really the fact that we were able to save lives, we were able to give hope, we were able to do something productive in a horrible time is really cool.
Yeah.
And my hands finally healed.
Well, I can kind of piggyback off of that a little bit because, like you said at the beginning, that you're very heavy into social media, and I remember you pushing that and having a drive to help that, and I think that is one of the good aspects of social media.
It is.
There's not a whole lot, if I'm being honest with you, but I mean that is one thing is when people see a cause that they can get behind, and they get behind it. You see those things come to fruition.
I saw that again in the hill country. In the rivers.
Yes.
Flooding. And same thing, you know, we got involved with that and raised about $20,000 in a couple of days. I think we had ended up with 7 crews at once down there with excavators and skid steers and grapples. Again, not to take this any lower than where we already were. I apologize, but you're right. When people see a need, they will. And social media is really an avenue we've never had before in our society, which is good and bad. People gripe about the roads and the traffic, but then you also have people, and they gripe about burgers being too high.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you've got a communication platform where people can jump in and help and make a difference.
Yeah.
And man, it's good when it's good.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you were able to do that. I know it meant a lot to the people in the Panhandle who got to see it, like taking it to those theaters. I hope it goes wide. I hope everybody gets a chance to see it.
I do too.
And,
I really do.
Have you thought about putting it on YouTube?
I have. I would rather someone else do all the work of propagating it because it's going to take, if we could get on Netflix or Paramount, it would probably do its own thing and they would be more on the hook to help it if they made the deal. You know,
seems like something our buddy Taylor Sheridan.
I was thinking the same thing.
Right, seems like up his alley. Kind
you know, I've sent it a couple directions towards him.
Yeah,
I was asked originally if I wanted him involved because I used a studio out there in Amarillo to do some mastering of it once it was done or close to finished, and they work with Taylor on several parts of making certain scenes and stuff that. So I told him no at the time just because, you know, Taylor has he needs to finish some stuff. If he would finish some stuff, he would sit well with the public a little bit better, you know. You know, he just can't quite get back around to finishing anything.
Got a lot of things going.
Too many things going. And so I just didn't want to be one more thing that didn't get committed there and then not carried through. It's too important.
I see your point.
To just drop.
Yeah.
Now, could I have gambled and said, you know, his influence could. So what I'm doing now is we're trying to. He's connected with Paramount Plus, and so I would love to be on Paramount Plus. It would fit their set. I mean, it would fit what they do. But you know, again, it's kind of one of those things that's iffy because it's such a narrow topic. It's such a small. The idea and the message is for everyone to hear that neighbors help neighbors and that people are still good,
Yeah.
and that they're still good in the world. And it uses a very narrow focus to show a broader picture, but they have to get past that regional kind of a focus to be able to see the big picture. I don't know if they can do that. I hope they can.
Yeah.
I think if you get it on a
pretty cool.
platform like that, it'll blow up. Honestly.
Yeah, Paramount is, gosh, they're everything now.
Yeah.
They got UFC now too,
Mm-hmm.
starting this year.
And it seems like those are going to be the two major ones going forward, Netflix and
Yeah, that's why.
Netflix is making a lot of moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of big moves.
That's why Paramount tried to get in on that when
Trying to
Netflix
backdoor
and
that
Warner
video.
Brothers merged. Paramount said, "Hey, wait, what about us?"
What about us? We're going to talk some national politics. You good with that?
Sure.
So if you've been living under a rock in the United States, you have not been paying attention to the last couple of days. We're going to cover a couple of things. First and foremost, Minnesota. Got a slide for that.
I don't want to talk about this.
You don't want to talk about it?
I do, but
Okay.
I don't.
Hold on.
But this is funny though.
This is the bit Clinton does. He doesn't like talking about things, and then all of a sudden he wants to.
Well, it's this thing. So there's Babylon Bee just says exhausted nation wishes Minnesota will be normal for like 5 minutes, because you have the Quality Leering Center and you got Waltz over there saying he's not going to run because he told us he wasn't going to run for president, which no one was asking him to do, and then he told us he wasn't going to run for governor, which I guess people in Minnesota care about. And then you have these horrible things that have happened this week, and we say this a lot. I'm glad we don't record every day or several times a week, because this is one of those things where I like to let it settle for a little bit, get some things out there. And I've had a lot of thoughts about a lady driving her car and interfering with the investigation this week and getting shot by the officers, and a lot of thoughts, different directions on that. And I almost just always just kind of come back to it's just a tragic thing. And it's, it's these two worlds that are getting thrown together. Like that ICE officer is in a situation that he's been trained for.
yes.
To where if somebody has a vehicle pointed at him, he has a certain training to respond to protect him, not only him,
And hits him,
and hits him.
not just pointed.
Right. And comes out and hits him, that he has certain training to protect not only himself, but if he gets knocked out of the way, his other fellow officers also in that operation on that street. And you just kind of think about him as an ICE officer and like the types of serving warrants, making arrests, the types of things that he would do. And where someone who does not want to be deported, does not want to be arrested, does not want to face those charges may very well, just like it happened to him 6 months before in June, drag him 100 yards from a vehicle and give him a bunch of stitches in his arm and injure him and, potential life-threatening things. And so you have that, but that's not what this is. My goodness, I hate doing that. I'm glad we're on the wide shot. I just I'm getting crazy over here with my hands. But you have, and I use this term and this generalization in the nicest way possible, but it's become a thing. You have liberal white women protesting these things. We showed a clip, was it last week or the week before? It was the Venezuela thing.
Yeah.
And we showed we showed the people protesting Trump arresting Nicolas Maduro, and it's liberal white women. One of them was waving
every single one.
every
of them
single
in
one,
this clip.
and one of them was waving a Pakistan flag,
Palestinian.
not Palestinian flag.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Palestinian. Sorry. And then you have the other story of actual Venezuelans actually rejoicing. But so you have these two worlds where this officer is responding to that threat and how he's been trained, and you have this woman who, admittedly, the people who are with her went there to interfere. Like that didn't come out at first, but it came out a couple of days later. And so that's what I mean. There's I almost just want to let it settle in my own head. I have my own thoughts, and I pretty much just gave what I've got. But my question because I got some left-leaning and more liberal friends, and my question to them this week is I'm always looking for, is your response to this and how you feel about this political, or do you actually care about what happened? And so my question to my left-leaning friends that I talk to and people I talk to is, do you have the same reaction to Ashley Babbitt being shot and killed on January 6th by a Capitol police officer as you do to this lady being shot and killed in Minnesota? Not not exactly the same, but you think about those two things. Is your response the same on those?
Well, my question to the same group of people, and I actually asked this same question this week, were you upset whenever you had a representative from your own state get murdered?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the real question. Like, I don't remember, obviously we're not in Minnesota, but I don't remember there being any protests whenever that happened.
Yeah, and this is not even that.
Yeah.
People are just so quick, and that's why I like just kind of sitting with stuff for a little bit because, they first show that one camera angle, and then there's a different camera angle. It's like, no, like she drove her car, and then if you see the big wide shot, you see a couple vehicles get to drive past, and she's pulling her car out into the street to block more, and it's like, come on, like what did you expect? I don't know. There's a lot.
I saw a clip this afternoon of a lady that lives there, and she's like, for once, could we not be the crazy news story? She's like, I'm embarrassed to say I'm from Minneapolis. She said, I'm embarrassed to say I live here because the great majority of folks out here are just regular Americans. They're not crazy. They're not protesting and going nuts. They're not really on board with the leadership. She said, we really want to get our state back if we could. And I thought, I understand. I get it.
Well, and then like the fact that you have all the same group standing outside what they thought was a hotel from ICE, banging on instruments and hitting pots and pans for 2 nights in a row. What is your goal? Is my question.
What about the guy that was throwing bologna slices at the ICE agents? What?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I saw that.
What?
Well, and then you see good things like there was
idea.
No, that's a terrible idea.
There was a Hampton Inn that refused service to some ICE agents.
I did see this.
And Hilton pulled the brand.
Yeah.
Sent a crane out there, took the signs off, said, "Yeah, you're not in our brand anymore." Like they took. I mean, within a week, they were out. They were out of the company.
They tried to give them a chance at first, and they said they would.
Yeah.
And then they recanted.
Yeah.
They went back to their story of they're not going to, and then they're like, "All right, we'll take the sign down."
Yeah. But it's, man, I don't know, but they're right about Minneapolis. And then you have the lady that the story's about that that was shot this week. Is from Colorado and driving a car that's plated in Missouri. Like, what are you doing in Minneapolis? Mm-hmm. Like, what brought you? It's almost like your friend was talking about, living in Minneapolis. Like, it seems like Minneapolis has become a magnet for some crazy these last few years, especially.
Well, you've got Floyd?
Yeah, George Floyd was there too.
Yeah.
You've got, there's just, the list goes on.
Of all places, middle of the country, Minneapolis, like.
Well, what about the fact, and I don't know if she was part of this or not, but what about the paid protesters that are bussed around that we see popping up in same person in different states for different reasons? Shouldn't that be looked into? Shouldn't that be investigated?
Well, and a lot of these independent journalists, like the one that exposed the fraud, you have several of those types that are out there, and they said, "Why are you out here on a Tuesday morning? Shouldn't you go have a job?" And the protester literally says back to that person, says, "I'm being paid to be here."
Right.
And so then when they ask that question, you get that. Well, then you saw the guy that was burning the flag. One of these independent journalists followed him and was like, "Hey, why were you doing this? Why were you there?" Because all he did was he appeared, burned the flag, and then left. And they followed him, and he was just an agitator. That's all his entire job was.
Well, we saw it, 2020
into 20,
yeah, that where we saw. They were even coming across the bridge, into Rockwall, and the sheriff's department went out and stopped the buses from coming downtown Rockwall because they were coming to the police station to blow it up or whatever it was they were going to do. We had guys stationed at Wells ready with semi-automatics because we weren't going to let them burn down our restaurant. I didn't call them. They called me and said, "We're going." It's kind of like you said earlier. I don't have to ask for it. They just said, we're going down there just in case. But they turned those buses around. Who? I think I know who.
Who's paying for the buses?
I think I know who.
Right.
I think we know. In the amount of money. Yeah. There were ads on Craigslist that asking for protesters to paid, what was it, $100, $200 a day or something.
Well, and that kind of leads us into the next one about the Somalian fraud, right? All the hearings, the congressional hearings that happened this week, Brandon Gill, a representative from Texas, was questioning several of them about, like, how many of your representatives that are Somalian descent are still on food stamps? What percentage? And it's an astronomical amount.
It was like 75, 76%.
And
Trump said this week that it's 88% on government assistance.
Right. Of some fashion.
Yeah, of some fashion.
After 10 years.
88%.
Mm-hmm.
And so it seems like.
And every other nationality was somehow down in the 18% or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when it got past 10 years, it was in the single digits.
For others.
Yeah.
Not some.
Yeah. And it just is the amount of, and we talked about this on our podcast when Elon took over, and he came out and said the amount of fraud is so big and so immense that it's hard for your brain to comprehend. And this is just one little sliver of this entire thing. And I saw that they froze the daycare funding to 5 blue states, and then now a judge has come out and said they can't do that, so it's in the courts now. But my thing is about going back to the lady that was shot. Like, if you're going to protest, that's fine. That's your right as an American citizen. But as soon as they say you have to, you're under arrest for impeding whatever, you have to stop. Yeah, because then it becomes something else.
Your car is your weapon at that point, because it will kill you. The weapon was pulled, used, however terminology you want to use. A weapon's a weapon,
right?
Whether it was a handgun or a vehicle, it's a weapon.
I don't concede that you can go protest a in-process police action. Like, you got police officers working a case on a street. Like, you walk the other way.
Yeah,
like so you're not going on the street right now.
You can't cross a police line.
Yeah, in the crime scene,
and just go mess with stuff.
Yeah,
like go flip a body and go, take something out of their pocket. They won't let you do that.
Yeah, and it wasn't as widely reported, of course. But a day or two later, I did see the story of the person they were there to get in this investigation where this lady was killed. They arrested them, and it's a couple child sex predators. Like, they're there and they're legal immigrants. They've been charged, accused, convicted of these awful, heinous crimes. They're there to arrest them and send them, get them out of our country. And yet you want to come bring your vehicle up and block that. Like, what? Like,
why?
What are you?
Yeah.
Are you a producer on West Wing or what?
Well, the other thing is too, is I have so much more to live for, right? I have so much more to live for than if something is happening in my neighborhood, I'm probably going to go look and see what's going on. And 95% chance that the people in that neighborhood, I'm making an assumption here, but I have probably seen that person down the street that they're trying to arrest, and I would be willing to bet that they want them arrested too.
Especially if they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Everybody be on the same page.
And then you have this tragedy like this. And now that, and like I struggle too, like as an empathetic human, like, now that lady's kids are going to not have a mom. Yeah. That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's, spouse. And
whose
so, like,
fault? Who's at fault?
No. Yeah, really, I agree.
I mean, we come back to who pulled the weapon first, and I think it's tragic.
Yeah,
but it's really clear.
Yeah,
from what I can tell.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And then you got AOC saying, J.D. Vance is okay with people being shot in the face, and I'm against it. Well, no one said she was intelligent. But anyway, yeah.
I do think, though, when you come back to the fraud part of it, it's going to take longer than Trump has in office.
Oh, for sure.
That's why I'm so cautious and can get somewhat disheartened, because I'm like, man, if the right person doesn't win next, then all this stuff just goes back to what it was.
Right.
Everything that Trump has done, the next guy can undo. That's the way it works, unfortunately. And so, but I did see the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is for 2 counties, specifically in Minnesota, any international wires that go out over $3,000 have to get reported.
Saw that.
I don't know.
It's a try.
Yeah, it's a try. It's something better than sitting back like Biden and saying, don't. That's one of our favorite Biden clips when he says, "I've got 2 words for you," but it's only 1 word, because it's Biden.
because it's Biden.
And he said, "Don't." You posted that clip on our pages.
I did this week.
We've referenced it a few times. So it's better than just looking at the camera and saying, "Don't." It's something.
What's going on with all the Elon and Doge stuff? I mean, I know he's out, but is there any follow up to that we know about?
Doge is in for a certain amount of time. It was around 170-ish days. Yeah. And so we just passed the 100-day mark, I believe, about a month and a half ago, something like that.
Well, he's kind of back in Trump's graces. They had the little spat, but I think he's kind of back now. But
what action has do we have a report on what actions been taken?
And we won't.
No.
I don't think we will. And I think too, like the biggest step that he could have President Trump and Elon could have taken is reduce the federal workforce, and that they did that pretty quick. Mm-hmm. The shutdown, quote unquote, helped that a little bit, but I mean, you're going to see intense fraud come forward, and then the question is what do they do about it? Mm-hmm. What can they do about it? And there's just so many things that are at play there.
I saw somebody, I don't know who was the author of the clip, but they had a phone and a video, and they were at one of these daycares. It wasn't even in Minneapolis, but it was a Somalian daycare. Mm-hmm. And they said, "Where are the kids?" And they said, "No kids." Yeah. Y'all see that? Mm-hmm. No kids. And they drove around, and it was obvious that they hadn't had any kids there. And I mean, I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I missed out on several million.
I was going to say, we missed out on billions.
Man, I could have been out of the burger business. Could have been. I could be so rich I wouldn't care about the cattle prices.
That's right. That's
at this
right.
Point.
Well, I mean,
It's crazy.
If someone was tracking down, your money, and you show up and you never had any customers at your burger business, that might look suspect.
It is.
It might look like a front.
It kind of looks like. I shouldn't say it. How do we have so many car washes?
There's a lot of car washes.
There's
and
still dirty cars.
Yes.
So here's the thing. I asked somebody about this, and because they were opening up a car wash, and this particular person had done very well in their life, and they were retiring. And so they had done so well. I mean, I'm going to get this wrong, so but he had something to do with his tax revenue. Well, he got people to sign up for monthly subscriptions to an automatic car wash so he could turn his money over and then use that as a tax write-off and not have to pay taxes on his retirement fund. And this is in a very small town where there's already 4 car washes. So in that particular case, I guess it's a really easy startup.
It's a great front.
But
it would also be a great front.
Walter White, there's a whole series on that.
He did have a car wash.
He did have a car wash.
Was that a documentary?
He did have a car wash.
Documentary?
It's true.
I think it was a true story.
In New Mexico.
True crime. I've never seen that, by the way.
No,
I'm through my second time of watching it.
My first week in public accounting, I found a fraudulent front, and it was really easy to pick out because you sat down at the conference table and one person did not fit in, and they didn't make the highest salary at the table. And I was like, y'all, like, where's our money going?
Here.
The office worker who drove up in a C7 Corvette who's dressed to the nines, and you're in jeans and polos. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. Just outside looking in. But yeah, there's those car washes. Although now some of them are starting to take credit cards because when we sold the big white van, we went up there to get a little wash on it. And I was like, you can tap your credit card. And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, if you can tap a credit card, this is less of a front now, because if it's all cash, then it's something. But if you're tapping,
they just want to show some credit cards,
that's
so
true.
that
That's
they can
true.
stay legitimate.
That's what it is. It probably has a limit. After a while, the credit card stops working, and then you have to use cash.
I've done some numbers on the nail salons too, and I did a post the other day about commercial rent, and purchasing the buildings when that Freddy's went out.
Yeah.
It's $20,000 a month.
Yeah, I saw that.
And now I did the math on some of those, because every single building in Royce City just about has a nail salon in it, and we only
so many nails to do.
So many nails, and I mean they're big spaces.
Yeah,
I mean they're we're talking like 5 wide of me, or 4 5 wide of what I've got, and I know $6,000 where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Times 5, that's a lot of fingernails.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, that's a lot of oranges on the legs to scrub them down.
Hey, I'm all about going to get a pedicure.
I know, but how many pedicures you get a year?
Just 2.
See, me too. I'm a 2 pedicure guy.
This is like if you should like we're retired or
before cruises.
we're rich and didn't have to go to work every day. You could just sit out in front of that nail salon for a month and just count the number that go in.
Just a clicker.
Just a clicker. That's all you need. And be like, you got to know some of those are pedicure, some of those are manicure, and just like get your averages. And I guarantee you,
Well, I've done
$30,000 a month. No.
I've done the numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't see it.
No.
I've figured up. I know how many burgers I have to sell, and how many customers that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much that average ticket is. And then I look over there and I'm thinking, I just don't. So, and they're not all chains either. These are mostly independent guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
The names don't seem to be the same in every town. I'm
No,
not.
yeah,
an
you're right.
expert.
They're all different.
Yeah.
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 So
I don't know.
No, my wife's not going to like this part of the podcast. She'll be like, "Stay away from my nail salon."
they're not going anywhere, honey. You're fine.
Don't worry. They're going to put one right down there. If
Yeah,
that one
that's
closes,
true.
there'll be another one.
There's a restaurant. I won't tell you where, but there's a restaurant that I know about that is an obvious front,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got bags of money moving, and we do okay. Roy City does okay. I've never had a week where I need a bag to take my money out. Not cash. I mean, we do a lot of cards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And hundreds, you don't need bags.
Right.
So anybody that's moving bags every week of money,
Yeah.
bags,
Yeah.
like multiple bags into the back end of SUVs. No,
Something's going on there.
no.
We did that one time. I worked in public accounting, and we were out at a client out in Deep East, Texas, and we had this girl working with us, and she was Indian, from Indian, and every time we'd go somewhere to a client, she would say, "We need to find a place with good Indian food." And I told her, I'm like, "Well, Vidya, I don't think this town. We're basically close to Marshall, okay."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Marshall's going to have Indian food, but next to the hotel, there's a truck stop, and it had an Indian food place in the truck stop. I'm like, I'm definitely not doing Indian food in a truck stop. She's like, no, I've looked it up. It's legit. It's good. And I'm like, we're all going to die, And so we go over there, not a single person in there, as you would imagine, because there's an Indian food place in a truck stop that,
In Marshall.
That makes sense that no one would be in
Right.
there. But they looked at us like they were so disappointed we walked in the door. Like, I was like, this place has to be a front. Like, because they had to get up out of there. Like, the 4 people working there were just sitting at a table, and they looked at us and were like, and we weren't there like at 10 o'clock at night or anything. It was regular eating time. They had to get up and go to turn the grills on, and I saw him back there through the window, actually turning the fire on. And I'm like, those grills aren't even on. This is like a Thursday night, I was like, oh yeah, this is the front. They're like, we'll put an Indian place in a truck stop in Marshall. Nobody's ever going to show up.
Right.
And so it'll be perfect.
But
Yeah.
they run $200,000 a month somehow.
That's
Yeah,
right.
somehow.
That's right.
Yeah.
And 4 or 5 auditors from a public accounting firm walked in there, picked up on it. But we did eat the food, and I lived. And she did tell me, the guy came up and he's like, what kind of spice do you want? And she answered for me. She said, he wants half spice. And I was like, thanks, because it was really hot. Whatever half spice
Even
is.
at half spice.
Even
is
half
hot.
spice was
Yeah.
really hot.
So there's a place in Caddo right there on 30 that is a Indian food restaurant. It's right there next to the Huddle House.
Mhm.
And I got it not spicy, and it was so hot.
yeah.
So hot.
I think they do that, though. I think they're like, oh, yeah, white guy in here. He says no,
Yeah.
no spice. Dunk, 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 dunk.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
show him what's up.
My wife loves it. I mean, we've eaten it a couple times. But like you said, it's not super busy.
No.
Venezuela.
I don't want to talk about that either.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the military exercise that they came out with this week. Yesterday,
You're going to have to educate me. 'cause I don't
today.
know what you're
Okay,
talking
so
about.
there was a report that came out from the security forces that was guarding Maduro, and it was,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
and they were talking about how there was a sonic blast that hit them, and lasted for a period of time, which caused them all to start bleeding from their faces. Then there were fighter jets flying over the area to light up the sky, and then 3 to 4 helicopters dropped they said at least 20 men, and they were firing what he described as 300 bullets a minute. They got Maduro, got him out, and they killed hundreds of security force members. And so now, the guy that I was reading this article, he said that the bleeding happened only from your face. It caused you to vomit, and then once that happened, it lasted for approximately 15 minutes, and then it just stopped. So it got me thinking. I have a family friend that works in special weapons in DC, and he has a very, very high security clearance. And I was asking him, I'm like, okay, is this true? He was like, well, I can't, confirm or deny. He was like, but, I saw this type of weaponry like a decade ago. He was like, you can only imagine what it's like now. And so the military, I think we understated last week when we talked about this initially, the military tactics that it took to pull this off and not lose a single soldier is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And if those reports are somewhat true, I mean, even if they're just a fraction true, because you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt to a certain extent. But even if that's a fraction true, that it only took 20 men, 3 to 4 helicopters, jets, and the planning that it took, the pulses that they may or may not have set off, I think it also sent a message. And I know it's not on the run sheet, and you probably don't want to talk about Greenland either. But it's one of those things where we haven't seen reported the military might in quite some time.
Yeah.
And I think this just confirms what I already knew, and those that are paying attention now know. The U.S. military is not to be messed with. Mm-hmm. It's what I believe to be the best
military under this leadership.
Is not to be messed with. And I've seen various comparisons of how Bush handled this. We went into a war and it took multiple years to find Saddam. Under Obama, we just dropped drone strikes on everywhere else. So those are the comparisons that we're getting at the moment. We saw Biden in the Afghan withdrawal. That was a disaster. And so now, as I said last week, we've now had 2 major military actions inside major countries that were 100% a success. Mm-hmm. If the world is not on notice, they should be.
Yeah.
Because President Trump said, you have 1 week, 2 weeks to get this fired. The next day we're bombing Iran. Venezuela, he said, come get me. And you sent the Disney remake FAFO. Yeah. And it's in the Pixar style of art. And it just makes me sit back and think maybe there's political argument to be had about this particular event, but it just makes me proud to know that is still on the table, and no American soldiers were lost. No American Air Forces were lost. There was a few injuries. They were in San Antonio. From the report I read this week, they've already been released. Mm-hmm. So, and it was a success all the way around. And so now we have a resolution that's passed that he can no longer do any military.
It's not passed yet.
Well, it's been presented.
Technically, it's had a couple test votes that have passed, but I don't see any way Trump doesn't veto it, and they 100%. They don't have the votes to stand. I think it's almost where the House members, and I don't agree with this, I don't like it, that voted for it, Senate members that may vote, Republicans that may vote for it to get it passed, are voting with the cover, knowing that Trump can veto it, will veto it. But I still don't even like that. Right. I'm not opposed to going through those proper channels of, Congress declares war. They have that right. That's the way it's set up. I've got no issue with that. But when it's war, right? When it's war, but in these actions, you've got to empower the commander in chief to be able to take these actions without having to go through an act of Congress, literally, to get it done. So I don't like it. And Trump's going to veto it. It's not going to survive the veto, and that'll be that. But I don't like I looked at the House members who voted for it. I didn't recognize any of the names. There is one in Texas, but They're kind of spread out.
I didn't recognize
looked like a
any
list
of
of
them.
like 10 or 12, but
Yeah,
I didn't recognize any of the names of any key players or anything.
Well, and I do like that, we're now saying that Venezuelan oil is out on the open market.
Mm-hmm.
He said, President Trump said that Russia and China can buy it.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's saying, to these countries that you cannot purchase this. You're just now going to purchase it at market price. And I like that. I mean, I think that
That's
if you're
what
going
they should have been doing anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Under a regular leadership.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a problem with that. There's been several times over the last year where we've criticized Trump and we've been accused of being Trump lovers and all that stuff. But like in these particular incidents, when you take things at face value and you just look at them through the lens of exactly what the event was, I like what happened so far. Now, I'm not married to that idea. That doesn't mean that in 6 months something happens and I can say, hey, like I don't agree with that part.
Mm-hmm.
So like as we move forward in this particular event, there's been lots of other things that have gone down. Like we chased down a tanker.
Talk about the American military. 4 of those tankers were caught in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
This one made it all the way between Iceland and the UK.
Yeah.
Russia sent a sub and 2 destroyers out, and our Coast Guard cutters just went up there and still did their business.
They got it. Yeah.
Yeah. It just still went, and now it's back in the US. Like, talk about they just sailed right into it. Like normally, I shouldn't say normally, but under other leadership, a commander in chief would have said, all right, no, we lost that one. Come on back. But Trump's like, no, we chased it 2 weeks across the Atlantic. We're going and getting the sucker. And they did. Mm-hmm. And Russia went and turned back and went home.
Right.
Like it says a lot. Man.
And the 50 million barrels of oil that's going to be sold at market price is so much money. That's so much money.
Yeah.
And I just think that, we had I read this too, and I didn't put on the run sheet, but like we had a liquid natural gas, not explosion, but like an explosion in the market because oil has dropped so much that now we're exporting liquid natural gas and it's not affecting the oil companies as much as it would have had the price of oil gone down. Yeah. And so all of that business, I think I mentioned to you last week, I'm kind of worried about my friends in the oil industry. But most of them also have their toe in natural gas. And so now we're seeing an influx in the market there to where you're going to start to see an increase of that. We saw the export record high over the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see it kind of balance out.
But a lot of those wells and a lot of that equipment in Venezuela was ours to begin with.
Correct.
So they're just giving back what's been taken away from.
Correct.
So they're going to get the money of that sale.
Right.
Percentages, whatever the percentages are, that go back to the drill sites and the companies. So I don't think it's going to be that detrimental to the oil industry because that should have been
right
Exxon's and whoever's anyway. So
yeah, they're the ones who made the investment initially.
Yeah. And then they got run off at gunpoint.
Right.
Did you see with Rubio handing Trump the note this week?
They read it.
He read it out loud. He was like, Rubio says I need to go back to Chevron. So Chevron, what do you got? And Rubio's like, If you can't tell between the two of us, we watch a lot of C-SPAN.
Yes, you do.
We watch a lot of C-SPAN. I love that show. I love that channel. I don't know if it's a show. It's a channel.
It's a channel.
One of these days, I would like to go back to having a part-time 40-hour-a-week job.
Yeah.
Where I had time to, sit in a recliner and watch C-SPAN and Law and Order and whatever.
The West Wing.
Yeah, that would be nice. We talked a little bit about, I saw AOC. I was about to say AOC, but the ACA enhanced subsidies did pass this week. Heads to the Senate, extends the enhancement premiums tax credits for 3 years through 2028. This is your wheelhouse, Clint.
Yeah, this is what the government shut down over. It's not going to go anywhere. It's my opinion. I think it's the same thing before. These House members, Senate members know they could vote for this with cover. It's not veto proof. So Trump's going to veto it. He stood on this solid ground to keep the government shut down. And they blinked and said, hey, we'll go ahead and vote to reopen the government as long as you give us a vote. Gave them a vote. They voted for it. It passed the House and the Senate, but it's not veto proof. I think Trump will veto it. This has to be addressed. Again, like we talked ad nauseum whenever it actually was happening during the shutdown. This is not the ACA premium tax credits themselves. It's the enhancements that were added for COVID, that made it where someone had their full health insurance paid for, making 4 times the federal poverty level, which means if you're a family of 2 with 2 kids, you're making over $120,000 a year, not having to pay a dime for health insurance. Like, that's not okay. That's too much.
Right.
And talk about waste and fraud and abuse and everything. The national debt is never going to move towards a solution until entitlements are addressed. That's the biggest suck on all of it. So I think Trump
Both
vetoes
suck
it.
and sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I think Trump vetoes it, doesn't survive the veto, and that's that. But the bill that they passed extends it for 3 years, just kicks the can down the road, 26, 27, and 28.
They're just trying to hope that somebody else is in office. That's what I think.
I don't know. I think they voted for it with veto protection from Trump.
Fair. You got anything to add to that?
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
No, I
Slide.
agree.
Yeah.
Trump he helped make sure the whole government shut down over it. He will not be afraid to veto when it comes to his office.
Rubio informs Congress that the United States is going to buy Greenland. We got a slide for this, number 13.
I like this guy.
I do too. I really like the memes that are coming out of him sitting on the couch, and it's like this week it was like a president of Venezuela, and it's him in a like a Italian suit, and it says something along the lines of like the new president of Greenland, and he's got like the flag of Greenland's on his
All the jobs that Rubio
all the
has right
jobs that he's trying to do right now, or like the next president of Cuba, you know.
I saw that when they.
Yeah.
I mean,
there have also been reports that the U.S. could potentially buy Greenland as one potential option on the table. What would such an offer look like? Is there anything monetarily you could provide, any details there?
Well, that's something that's currently being actively discussed by the president and his national security team.
Does the U.S. intend to buy Greenland? Can you clarify your comments to lawmakers this week?
Well, that's always been the president's intent from the very beginning. He said it very early on. I mean, this is not new. He talked about it in his first term, and he's not the first U.S. president that has examined or looked at how could we acquire Greenland. There's an interest there. But so I just reminded them of the fact that not only did Truman want to do it, but President Trump's been talking about this since his first term.
straight to the point.
I know you just said it, but I really like that guy. I think he's doing a great job.
I'm glad that he threw his support behind J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Because those two would have, there's obviously going to be Republican challengers, but those two would have duked it out, and they're at the top of the ticket for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe Rubio goes in as Vance's VP, and that's a tough ticket to beat.
I saw that thrown around this last week, and I thought, man, talk about keeping the momentum running.
Yeah.
That would do it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because then you have him for two potentially J.D. Vance for 2 terms, and then potentially Rubio for 2 terms.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing.
I mean, you're talking a long time there.
That's long term.
That's long term.
One party rule.
But
when you look back, you were talking about Clinton earlier. We were talking some of that, and then Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's my opinion that we haven't had a real Republican since Reagan.
Yeah.
And then you've got Trump. Those are the bookends for the last real Republicans. The Bushes, neither one were true Republicans.
Right.
There was not a nickel's difference between a Clinton and a Bush.
Right.
There just wasn't.
Yeah.
Policy.
We talked about that whenever Trump was elected, that the Republican Party of Trump is not the Republican Party of Bush.
Mm-mm.
Like, that's very different.
There wasn't much difference in their policies. I mean, the bailouts that Bush did with automakers, and I mean, just the whole way of doing things was not much different, really.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. In other news, Trump has called for a 10% interest cap on credit cards. So before I get you guys' thoughts on this, we're trying to help my daughter understand like how credit works and trying to help guide her into her path of adulthood. And so she needed to get a credit card, because that was one of the biggest mistakes we made, was waiting till I was almost 35 and had no credit, and it was a whole big debacle. But anyway, so we got her just a small very, very low limit credit card. And so I'm reading it to her and she's like, wait, what is this 29% APR? And I'm like, that's how much interest you're going to have to pay. She was like, so that means I'm going to have to pay $29 for every $100 I spend. I'm like, exactly. So don't do that.
And that keeps rolling.
It doesn't
one time.
Not one time.
Then you'll pay $29 on that $29.
Yeah. And so she was like, oh, this is a lot of money. I'm like, yeah. So like when you get to your certain percentage that you need to have in order to keep your credit going, that's where you need to keep it. And so it was interesting now that when this news came out, she came in the other night and was like, oh, so does that mean it's only going to be 10%? I'm like, well, tap the brakes there. We'll see how this works.
I don't know what the basis is for that. I think he's throwing a bone economically kind of in a midterm year because, usury law is set by states. So that's why a lot of credit card companies operate in Delaware because they like the Texas usury law is 10%. So I don't know what. I don't know if they can or not. We'll see. I think this is just Trump saying Trump things.
I Googled that earlier just to see what AI said about it. And I don't know that unless he has some ace up his sleeve, some direction that we don't know about, I agree. It's probably just fodder just to get people talking about it. And maybe someone can get something done if he says something like that. And maybe down the chain it'll happen, but I don't know how his office could make that happen.
I don't think he can do an executive order for that.
No. You can't tell a business what they can charge.
Yeah.
I mean,
outside of the law.
Yeah.
You can make them hold to the law, but.
And the other thing is like, talk about how high credit card interest rates are, but that's an unsecured loan. So your daughter on her new credit card will hopefully pay it every time and pay everything off, but there's going to be a whole bunch of people who don't.
Right.
And so that's why she's paying that 29% interest for all the people who don't.
Yeah. So it's very, we're having a lot of adult moments in our house of late.
Good teaching time.
Like, oh, wait, you pay how much for electricity a month? Oh, my insurance is what? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you have gas?
What do you mean?
In your house?
Like gas heating and air?
Yeah.
No.
Man, gas is more expensive this year.
Is it?
Paid my gas bill this month. I'm sure in the restaurant business. And I looked, and so then it has like the trailing 14 or 16 months of usage. And I'm like, I used less this January bill than I did last January. My bill's like $40 or $50 more. And so I went back and I looked at the bills and compared the rates, and like it's significantly higher.
Huh.
You should have a 2-inch gas line coming into your behind your equipment that run all day long.
Yeah, I'm going to shut up. this guy's gas bill over here
in 2 locations.
Yeah,
it's serious. That's a big one.
My wife's dream is to have a gas oven / stove because she just wants to have it. And
when we bought this house, that was one of our things. We have to have gas.
Yeah, I want. We have plenty of gas, but not that kind of gas. Speaking of gas, let's talk about this food pyramid here.
Hey, I'm excited about this.
Although
I wish the most prominent meat item wasn't a big old turkey up there, but turkey's fine. We got a steak.
Healthy.
Why in the heck was grain ever the base of the food
That's
pyramid?
what I was about to say. Didn't everybody already know this was the way you're supposed to eat?
So if you go back and look at how this ever got established, they blamed the cereal companies for this.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that.
The biggest meal, the best meal of the day, the most important meal of the day, and then how it's going to be one of the cereal companies. And so if you go back into, what would that be, like the 40s, 50s?
After
maybe?
World War I.
Yeah.
R2. After World War II.
And that's when they started saying this is what it was. A lot of times they blamed the cereal companies for that, which is smart for their product, but it's taken a long time for this to happen.
Yeah.
We know, I mean, what's amazing to me about this is the fact that doctors are still fighting for the other way around.
I know.
I'm like, really, dude? Seriously? You don't eat that way.
They want customers.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's a customer-based industry.
It is.
I just think that this is so. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put this in a bow. We talked a lot about the vaccines over the last couple of weeks about how they're changing the schedule and what will the effects of that be. Is it a cause of autism? Is it not? Okay, this is another thing that we've talked a lot about the dyes in our food and the terrible food that we've been consuming for so long. And there is a connection between bad health, autism, ADHD, and kids. There's a connection between that. It's obvious. And if anybody says otherwise, I just dare you to come and sit in a classroom at some point. So the effects of this will not be felt for decades. Mm-hmm. The same with the vaccines. And so just what you see the things, especially over the last 2 weeks of like the removal of Maduro. I voted for this. Yeah. And the stuff that's happening with ICE, I voted for this. This is what I voted for. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like really, like when I heard RFK was potentially gonna be his Health and Human Services person, that's one of the reasons why I supported Trump so much, because I see such a huge need in our kids. We have to change the way they think about food.
Yeah.
We have to. We have to change the way that the chemicals that are being put into their bodies. Vaccines or food dyes, or the fact that I watch kids eat blue Takis for 2 years straight, and I haven't seen a whole lot this year, so thank goodness. But like, it's just so much poison that we've been putting into their bodies, in our bodies, for so long, that this is what I voted for. Honestly, like this is the change that I hoped would happen.
Who in their right mind? What doctor in their right mind? I'll look right in the camera and say it. What doctor in their right mind would say, give your kid a Pop-Tart, which is all modified starches,
right,
with sugar and dyes, and they'll be productive until lunch. And then let's go through the line at lunch and see what kind of trash we can put down their throats. And then let's just blame the education system.
Yeah.
Let's blame teachers not caring.
Yeah.
Of all the people in the world, my mom's a retired teacher. Of all the people in the world who care the most, it's not your teachers. It's not your administrators. Mm-hmm. It's probably the trash that you're sending in their system.
Yeah.
And then telling them, sit down, be quiet, pay attention. How? I can't pay attention on a Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
You can't either.
Yeah.
No.
And then our bodies are at least halfway dead. And theirs are trying to grow and develop and figure out hormones and figure out growth stuff. And that's what you're giving them?
Yeah.
Or how about, and I don't know about your kids. If I'm out of place, delete it later. But kids that only eat chicken nuggets and French fries, that's all. Mm-hmm. They've never seen a green salad. They've never seen a piece of broccoli that they would eat. How does that work?
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
I think it's a fair conversation. And as important as the heavy metals and the vaccines and the various agitators that are built in to make those work, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's just
for
not
sure.
good.
Well, and anybody who, again, I saw a meme today, and I we probably should have showed it, but it would probably get us a little bit backlash. But like, I saw the liberal food was like SSRI's vaccines, like all these different things, different parts of it, and then at the very bottom was seed oils, and I was like, well, I mean, that's kind of true.
Did you see the anti-this TikTok?
No.
Oh man, I've got to send this to you if I can find it again. I think I just scrolled past it. I should have saved it, but it's a left person, for sure, not even leaning, with a grocery cart, piling it full of bread in the supermarket, saying Trump doesn't want us to eat bread anymore. So they're piling their shopping cart full of bread, and I'm like, well, all right, like that's a choice. What is going on?
But going back to what I said about the dyes, I did try the potato chips, by the way. Lay's potato chips
I tried Doritos.
It wasn't okay. I like a good Dorito, I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't bad.
What are you talking about? What did they change?
They changed the dyes. Yeah.
They did change it?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They did.
I hear everybody talking about they're going to, but I haven't seen we don't buy Fruit Loops, but I haven't seen the Dole Fruit Loops yet.
Oh, we've had the Fruit Loops. My son won't eat a whole lot anyway, so he eats a lot. He eats a protein Cheerio, and it's supposed to be all natural. Obviously, it's not 100% natural, but there's still a flavor. It's a chocolate base, so it's got like a cocoa. It's like a cocoa powder. I hope he's not listening to this. He didn't know we're tricking him, but it's like it's a healthier version
You
of
think
a fruit
he's
loop.
listening to this?
You'd probably be shocked. He actually probably is.
Okay, cool. I like him.
Yeah, I did try the naked chips or whatever, and it wasn't terrible. It was much like
but
eating.
they're missing it though. I mean, they're missing. They're missing some of the flavor.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It
It doesn't even have the same crunch.
No,
They're really different.
I got to try it.
I could be used to it. I mean, I could probably get used to it. Dip it in some bean dip or something.
Something.
Make them
some beef tallow.
improved.
I mean, I'm glad to see this, but to be honest, I don't think a lot of us are really looking to the government's food pyramid to tell us how to eat. We, for years, have been telling our kids if they didn't like something for whatever dinner was, they have to eat their protein.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, as long as you eat the protein, then if you don't like the whatever, that's fine. But
You're a lot nicer than my mom was. She's like, if you don't eat it all, you're not getting up. I'm like, oh, I'll eat these soggy Brussels sprouts.
we do
that
tell
were
them that.
swimming in butter. Okay, Mom.
That's got to make it better, right? We've done that before. We told our kids, like, hey, these vegetables you don't want to eat, they taste a lot better when they're hot.
Exactly.
If you want to sit here and not eat them,
exactly,
it's
they're
only
bad
getting
going
worse.
down cold. I'll tell you one thing that I think the food pyramid will change. Hopefully, is if it starts to change healthcare providers' mindset.
Yeah.
To where they are more open to fats, good fats. If they're more open to, staying away from the oatmeals and the various things that are really have no nutritional value
Right.
for us, except for maybe the fiber in it.
Can you go back to that slide?
Yeah.
If those things could start the process of, because I'm a big believer in, beef tallow. I'm a big believer in eating proteins. I'm a believer in like keto diets and stuff like that. I mean, if you come off of them, you'll balloon back because it only works when you're doing it. But hopefully there's some change that comes from this in the way we think about it, just because they've done this.
Right.
I think it might provide the opportunity for guys to now break away from the old traditional song and dance that you get. Your blood pressure's up, you're going to have to start doing this.
Yeah.
Or, and maybe they can start being more open. That's my hope.
Well, I noticed that stuck out like a sore thumb is the avocado right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the big thing in our house is my son had some issues with gaining weight and some health issues that delayed some growth. And so they told us, like, will he eat avocados? Yes. The more you can give him at this point, because we just need him to eat. Like, you just need to get some good calories in him. Let him eat avocados. And so a lot of times, like for a snack, we have avocados that just sit on the counter. And whenever they're ready, we'll open it up, smush it up, and he'll eat some chips and an avocado, because at least we know he's getting some good fats. And so like that was something that was encouraging me. You got the eggs and the fish and it's going to have to be a mindset switch. How long does that take? I don't know. But again, I'll go back to
start it.
But this is what I voted for. Like, seriously.
You got to start the mindset switch it, or it'll never happen.
Yeah.
So,
people have been other than Trump, people have known this, but they've been afraid to actually do it.
Right.
And at least we've got the hard part out of the way.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Should make you a Wells Burger ad that takes all these off the pyramid, but puts the parts of your burger that fit, You got like the bun down here, you got the patty, you got your vegetables, and build your own Wells Burger pyramid.
That's a great T-shirt right there, if I do say so myself.
I'm thinking about it.
I stink at marketing. I'm an accountant. We don't market.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy learning things that I didn't know before. And this is one of the things that I enjoy about the podcast is I just get to learn so much more about things that I had absolutely zero knowledge about. And now I know, and it's my fault now if I don't apply it. So we appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
We will always visit Wells Burgers in both locations. It'll always be a continuous date night for us, to the Rockwall location. And I've been into the one in Roy City more than once already, to go, and it's easy online order.
So I haven't been
Click,
to Roy
click.
City yet, but we have our community group. We hosted our house on Monday nights. So I'm already thinking in my head, tomorrow night, we normally do a potluck thing, but tomorrow night it's a bring your own food. So I'm already knowing tomorrow night we're going to go up to Express, the new one, and get a couple burgers. I'm like this, because we've been talking about burgers so much, now I got to have a burger. So
You just go online. If you do it, go online to Wells Cattle Co. and order.
yeah.
If you're going to come pick it up, don't use the DoorDash app
Oh, yeah.
because they have a pickup, but they charge us and you a percentage to do it. And I can't turn that off, so
Yeah.
it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we ordered through the app because we got an email from Wells Company, the Wells website.
Hmm.
We ordered it. I think, I don't know. My wife did, if I'm being completely honest with you.
When he says
use
the app, he probably means the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just use the website.
Did I say the app?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I meant the website.
Yeah,
I didn't
use the
mean, I
website,
said
'cause
the
if
app.
you Google it, DoorDash jumps in and
Yeah,
it says order here.
But
people
I
don't.
think what I said, I think what I meant is I Googled it and then it says go to website and I clicked on the website and then
Okay.
ordered through there.
Good.
So I did go through an app. Thank you very much, Clint. Any big plans for the week for either one of you? You said you work 80 hours a week, so start working tomorrow morning.
I do a lot. I do a lot of work, but I don't do well being bored. I'm not a bored guy. I can't sit around and look at a wall.
Yeah.
I've got to get going. Got things to do.
Yeah. I don't
Thanks
sit still
for
very
letting me be on with you guys. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Yes, sir.
Great conversation.
Yeah. Great to have you.
I might even have to watch The West Wing here some night at midnight when I have nothing else going on. But it'll probably put me to sleep. So it probably won't work.
That's about when I watch it. I watch it. I have a show that I have to have like a throwaway show to watch while I'm eating lunch. And so I get like in 20-minute increments. So it's like it takes 3 lunches to get through an episode.
Right.
But that's usually when I'm.
Is there a TV
when
in
I'm
Express
watching it.
Burgers in the Wells Express?
Nope.
Oh, well, I was going to say you could throw it on.
No,
up there.
I don't have
Don't
TVs
do
in
that.
either.
You won't have any.
I don't have
customers.
I don't have TVs in either location.
Yeah.
It's by design.
Yeah, I could see that. I can see that.
Wells downtown is more of a quiet family. I want people to talk and enjoy themselves. And then Express, I don't want you there any longer than you have to be. Love you, but get out of here.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, everybody, both of you guys have a great week.